Ah, you're awake. Please remain calm. Please remain calm. An accident has occurred, resulting in a minor head injury. Resulting in a major head injury. Minor head injury. Injury. The cause of this incident is unknown. No other injuries were reported, and the station has resumed normal operation. While an investigation into the incident is currently underway. Several hull breaches detected. Emergency power online. Backup power failing. Recommend evacuation protocol. All emergency protocols and vital steps for evacuation can be found in your company field manual. The field manual will provide useful information to aid you in your current objective and guide you to solutions for any situation that you are confronted with in the coming moments. Pairing the manual and its wealth of valuable information with your company-issued multi-tool, there is no problem unsolvable to you. Using records of your crew, dossiers, research, and systems operation guides is imperative. Search for information left by your crewmates, clues to what has occurred, alien records, and classified tools aboard in order to progress through the ship and escape. It is company policy that all crew update their personal logs regularly for company review. These records will no doubt aid you in your mission to evacuate the ship. It is imperative that you utilize your field manual if you are to safely exit the station. The field manual. You must use the field manual. In the event of an emergency on the station, the evacuation protocol must immediately be activated. A head count will be taken to ensure all crew members are present. The station's escape pod will then be activated, and the crew will board and be launched into space. There you will await confirmation. Confirmation.
Gather round, freaks. Tonight we close the Grimoire of Familiar Killers. But first, we have to ask the question we ask each and every week while we turn the pages of the Grimoire, and that is, hey, did you see this one?
The night is dark, and the air is still. The moon casts an eerie glow over the internet, where a group of curious individuals have gathered to discuss their shared fascination for the macabre. They hold in their hands a book with a foreboding presence, bound in flesh and inked in blood, a tome of horror that only opens its pages when a sacrifice is made. Within its ancient passages lie the secrets of the most infamous murderers and monsters of all time. Join us. But beware, for once this book is open, there's no telling what horrors may be unleashed. This is the Grimoire of Familiar Killers.
I shot him 6 times. I shot evil 6 times.
It's evil.
Pataki's times.
Well, there we go. I played the 7,000 hour long Halloween intro.
Hey, I made a shorter trailer for that. I sent it to you, but I guess you used the long one. It's fine.
It's next week, the week, but next couple weeks I'll use the shorter one. Anyway, hello and welcome to Hey, Did You See This One? It is the final week of the Grimoire of Familiar Killers, and we are talking about Halloween 4, the return of Michael Myers. And if you notice, our
Right
guest...
here in Springfield, Illinois. Am I right?
Say the thing.
Hidely ho, neighborinos. Oh man. Mercy.
This audience love track goes on for way too long. And also, please welcome this week's guest. It's Marc Nordemann-Keller. Hello, Marc. Welcome.
Returning to the shoe.
Bring the show.
Heidi Hody. How's it going?
Good.
A
How are you
Grimoire
doing?
favorite. One of our Grimoire fellas.
What
Appreciate the return.
what movie were you here for originally?
Halloween 3.
Okay, so
The season of the witch.
you were here for
Wait.
Season of the Witch.
I was. When Steve sent me this one, I was like, wait, am I the Halloween guy?
You're the Halloween guy
have
now.
I become the
Am
Halloween
I not the Halloween
man?
guy? We got a few more, so I'm okay with being the Halloween guy.
It's because our pal Craig was on for Halloween 2, and then he was like, but I like Freddy more. So he's the Freddy guy, and you're the All Hallows Eve man.
I do like, it's got John Carpenter, or based on John Carpenter, so I like the roots of it.
He
Absolutely.
did do the music for this.
Yeah, for this one, in the beginning, the first one, right? So
No, he does the music for all of them. I'm pretty sure up until the most recent one that came out like 2 years ago or whatever, he's been making the music he's like, I don't care about the story or anything. I don't give a shit about the lore of Michael Myers, but I will come back to hit a couple keys on the keyboard on the synthesizer. Ding ding
Catch
ding
that,
ding,
buddy.
ding 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 ding, and I get a paycheck every fucking time.
yeah, right.
He also gets a paycheck every time they make the character do anything because he created Halloween, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Michael Myers is his character.
I don't know how much of that we can actually play.
Yeah, you gotta play like one that's only made of fart noises, and then we can get away with it.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that was fucking great. So here's something we do every week. It's wait for me to go to the shared folder, open up the file that has our pod videos, and tell everybody that at the beginning of the show we talk about our brief history with this film.
A brief history.
Oh,
Marc, it's great. I love people who have been on and come back like a year later and see how different it is,
Yeah,
because I feel like these are improvements, and not everybody agrees.
I think so far.
Well, I'm glad that you appreciate it. We've also made it a sort of a tradition around here that the guest gets to go first. So why don't you tell us your history with the film Halloween 4: The Curse of Chucky? Nope, The Return of Michael Myers.
Her and Michael Myers. I probably didn't see it till, I would say, before high school, probably middle school, back when Steve and I were doing our binges on all these movies. And they used to come on at Halloween. I know that. I remember watching it one time by myself for sure. I don't know if it's the first time. I cannot remember the first time. But I know one of the first times do watch it by myself was at my house. And it was the cut version on like TBS, so like there was Like there's no like dead bodies, but you like the whole premise was there. And even as like a kid, I was like, "Oh my god, this is terrifying!" And you just see like Michael Myers just always standing there, and so just the premise of Michael Myers like in the room, you know, in the
Is
dark
he in the
halls.
room? Isn't he in the room? You don't know.
How
That's
many
the
of
whole
them
deal.
are there?
The
And I'm just like,
stealthiest of all the
well,
killers in the Grimoire.
and I'm just like, how does he get places? Like sometimes it's just like unexplained. He just arrives,
Yeah.
but most of the time, I guess he's just like attached to the bottom of somebody's car.
Most of the time, yeah, that's his way of getting around. Mostly is either he's driving a car or he's attached to the bottom. Yeah,
Gripped on, like holding on. But yeah, I mean, it was one of the other like when I started watching the movies, and Steve like, you gotta watch more horror movies. And I was like, okay. And then, like I said, I watched the Halloween. And I was like,
I was trying to prepare you for the real horror, which was high school.
yeah, yeah, fair enough. So that would be me. Yeah, like I started probably younger. And then, like as I moved through life, you go back to it a few times, and you like revisit it when you actually want to get into horror movies or get into other things. So, more just like sort of the not for the horror aspect, I would say, but more for kind of the lore, one, and like just the filmography. Because I still am a sucker for like '80s, like early '90s, late '80s, sort of that 85 to 95 movie where it was just like make everything. It was like the Netflix of movie times. Like,
Yeah.
you got an idea, you're greenlit.
Did you see
You're
the new
greenlit.
one yet? Yeah. So this guy, he's got scissor fingers, and we're gonna make 1 million of these.
Yeah,
It's
but like
1990. Do you guys like dark wrestlers?
Jesus.
Sorry, I just wanted to fit that in there.
Is that going to be a new thing that happens every episode now? The Undertaker is our biggest fan.
Yes.
He's in the audience.
It's me,
He's
the Undertaker.
But then, like, there's one episode where it's not him and it's his brother Kane.
No, it's his brother, the Taco Bell dog. Sorry.
Oh no!
They're right next to each other on the fucking thing. I'm a genius. Mark.
No, I said that last week. I said it's
No,
the same sound.
Stolt. That I added it.
All right, Jason's the genius.
I'm the genius. Steve's riding my coattails all the way to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Most was that? Do you have anything else to add to your history?
No, probably sure. I watched it with Steve a bunch of times at his place. We always watch a bunch of different stuff. So I've seen this movie a few times. Like when I came back,
I know that we've watched all of these movies a bunch of
we watched
times.
them. It's just whether you were the guy who was awake at 4 when it rolled through.
Yeah.
Or
I honestly, watching this one, I was like, have I even seen this? Because I couldn't remember anything except for the little girl, because I'm like, she was in other stuff. She's in other things.
I just remember because for me, it was big was the TBS thing. So when I rewatched it later, I was like, and especially today when I rewatched it, I'm like, oh my God, wait, that wasn't there. Because the first time I was like, you didn't see the dead body in the corner, like when the one sheriff's like shot in the slump. I didn't even know how he dies.
That was the best part of the movie.
I can't wait till we get to that because I got questions.
Go ahead.
Fantastic.
Make my millennium.
Questions.
But
Steve, your history. I have to introduce it. Sorry.
True, yeah. My history is the same as Mark's. It's the same exact story, except from another. I was on a different couch. Mark had 2 couches in his living room, and I would sit on the other one, or we'd be in my basement, and it was one of those long L-shaped couches, and we'd be, nestled somewhere watching the movie. I think I've said this before. The Halloween franchise is probably the one that I'm least engaged with, because the lore is that he's just a regular man. But I mean, the next couple movies change that a little bit, where he's not just a regular man. He's basically, for most of the Halloween movies, he's just an unkillable man, and they don't really explain it or try to. At least in Jason, he gets like Frankenstein alive, and Chucky, there's some voodoo, and Freddy Krueger, there's dream demons or whatever. But this guy is he's just determined. He's, as Donald Pleasence would say, pure evil. He's evil on 2 legs.
Evil on 2 legs.
Yeah, he's just like this embodiment of evil that doesn't stop. I
would venture to say of the four, that he's the first one to get teleportation ability.
I don't know, though. He never really teleports without explanation.
He does.
There's always.
We'll get to it.
Okay.
We'll get to it.
I mean, we should really put a pin in that because I do want to talk about it. Because Jason has teleportation powers for sure.
Well, let's put a pin
yeah,
in
I
the
it.
mean,
whole
maybe he
episode
is the
just on
first
teleporting.
one. Yeah, it gets a little bit crazier as they go on.
Let me tell you about my history with this movie, and then we'll get into the
Dokily
body of the
dokily.
show. Neighborino. Don't! And then I will just go right into it. My name is Jason, and I watched this movie on Monday because I was too scared to watch Halloween movies as a kid. That's my history. I will say that for some reason, there's something about this one that, like, sparks my memory a little bit more than the other ones. So it might have been a similar situation to you guys where it was on TBS a bunch, but all censored. So you just see him Peachtree. So you just see him. Remember when it turned into Peachtree?
Yeah, TBS Peachtree.
Yeah. So I just remember
yeah.
him slowly plodding, walking, and then he would like hold the knife up, and then it would cut to commercial. So yeah, and as we do each and every week on the show, once we finish talking about our brief history, we move right into the body of the episode.
Ho, 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 ho! Everybody back up, because here comes the body of the episode.
Wow. Welcome to the body of the episode where we just talk and talk and talk and talk. Sometimes we go plot point by plot point. Sometimes we just talk ad nauseum. I think this movie lends itself to talking ad nauseum. However, if we do get held up, I'll try to find out where we've gotten to and continue from there. So I want, Steve, for one moment, I'd like to tell you why. You know what? Fuck it. This is happening.
Tell
now.
me why.
I never wanna.
Here you say.
You're already jumping into your theory? Oh my god.
I'm gonna use the other theory for Mark's theory. Don't worry, we're gonna get both theory songs.
Okay.
I just have a quick theory, and it's the reason why I said is because Jason doesn't explicitly teleport in the last one. They would show
Right. They
you
show
know,
him walking
they
through
show him
stuff,
walk,
hucking people
pretty
through
well.
windows.
That
yeah.
was great. But
Okay.
this one has
Yeah.
a very, very distinct teleportation moment where he's on the top of the house, and then
Yeah.
she falls.
No, I said the same thing. I'm like, how'd he get down so fast?
In my head, my theory here is that he fell and remember
He jumped. He jumped off.
Yeah,
He's
remember in the
unkillable.
first
You think
movie-
he's scared of jumping off a roof when he'll
If he can take
stand
bullets,
there
he can jump off.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just lands like a log and then just got up. He's fine.
Exactly. He does that. Ding 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 ding.
I
It
think
just wasn't
slow sit-up.
graceful, so they didn't want to include it.
I think that's the extent of my miniature theory. But I just wanted to put that in there because I feel like up till now, I guess Freddy is literally paranormal and lives in dreams. So maybe I'm
Yeah, he lives
wrong,
in Dream World.
but he hasn't gone full.
Remember when Kincaid
Bugs Bunny
says,
yet.
"Let's kick his ass all up and down Dreamland"?
But he hasn't. The rules of his movies make sense still. This is the first time I'm seeing a character do something he's maybe not meant to do yet, that we remember him for doing. Anyway, that was my theory. But you had something to add to it. You want to put a pin in it.
Well, I wanted to put the teleportation pin in because I thought we were gonna have a much more like fatty conversation about his teleport. I thought you were gonna have like 5 or 6 versions of him teleporting, but that's the only one you have
Pretty
that
much.
can be explained away with him
Okay.
just jumping off the house.
Okay, I was
Falling
gonna
is
say
fast.
on the bottom of the truck, but it was when we don't see him, he's always moving. I think, I think just fall. I think whatever he
Sprinting
did.
around.
Stop it.
You never see him moving ever, right? Like that's the one thing about Michael Myers that you don't get with the other characters, right? Is that if Michael Myers is on screen, he's stalking and he's basically not moving at all or moving very slowly. All the other characters, you get little shots of them like breaking through a wall or like ripping a person down off of a wall to walk through his artwork, or Chucky like setting up a trap being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna really fuck these people up, or Freddy Krueger just like turning into a giant snake or whatever. It's like all that stuff happens, but Michael Myers is the one where if you don't see him, you have to assume that he's like full ass sprinting from house to house, like until he finds a closet and he's like in the closet. He just waits there for a while until
And then starts
whoever he
walking
wants to.
very slowly.
Yeah, and then he's like, maybe he's still winded from his sprint. That's why he walks so slow. He's trying to recoup his energy, or he just really likes being scary. Like maybe he just really, really likes being scary. That could be the whole point of his character. Could be that he enjoys being ominous to the people that he's about to kill. That's my theory corner, is that Michael Myers sprints everywhere until someone sees him, and then he stops in his tracks and goes.
So by that metric, by that idea, the first time Jamie Lee Curtis sees him, he ran up to the side of the fence and then just stood there when she looked at him. Or the same thing happens to Rachel in this movie where she turns around.
No, he was standing at the bush and she was like,
oh, and
then she looks at her friend and he goes behind the bush, and then as they're like, what? And they start moving, he's like running for like someone's backyard, and he like hides behind like an above ground pool or whatever, because it was the 70s. That's the only way they knew how to make pools back then.
They hadn't invented the in-ground pool yet in the 70s. Even though in the film Rebel Without a Cause, there's an in-ground pool. Anyway, I don't know why I brought that up.
I'm talking about suburbia. I'm not talking about millionaires.
Billions and billions and billions upstairs. That's true. How did you guys feel about the opening to this movie? The credit sequence, the eeriness, the spookiness of the farm that they show that they never go to.
Well, I personally like the opening of the first two, and the third one I believe is similar, but it's like a Halloween mask instead of a pumpkin, right? They kind of strayed from that, and they just did sort of the typical like, let's show the town. So I was kind of hoping, because there's certain things when you watch these movies, right, where you want the familiar because it gets you excited, because you know what you've seen already and what you like already. And even if you're not like a diehard fan that has seen it a bunch of times and you're really excited to watch it in theaters again, even if you've just seen it one time, as soon as they show the pumpkin slow panning towards the screen, you know, the difference in the second one is the pumpkin slowly splits open and it's like absolutely disgusting. You know, pumpkins are gross inside. Mm-hmm. It's like that. And the third one, they do something similar with the mask. And this one, they don't do that. And I was kind of like, why though? Like, that's a thing that you're setting up your series. You've done it 3 times. Do it again. Do it again, man. That's something that you can do forever. And it's inherently creepy and weird. A slow pan on an ominous object is something that you can do. So I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't have, like, it could have even been like a rotted pumpkin, because it's, you know, it could be like a pumpkin from last Halloween or something. They could have done something. But
I wanted to add a segment. I want to talk about the directors of the films more, because, you know, we do a whole month for John Carpenter. So I think
you want to talk about this guy's extensive film history.
Well, I looked him up today, and it turns out that the guy who directed this, he was able to capture. This movie is like a movie that's timeless. It's out of its era. It feels 80s without going overboard, without hitting over the head with it being 80s. Besides maybe
I would say the only thing,
hairstyles.
Well, I mean, the one thing that really bites this movie is, like, obviously they couldn't have predicted cell phone technology. That's why it doesn't exist. But that's the only time you really feel it. Yeah. But you could also argue that him throwing that guy into the electrical grid would maybe knock out a cell phone tower. So like could, even if they were just pulling themselves out to be like, no signal on my cell phone, it could have been, you know, explained away by that guy.
But this,
Bucky, is that his name, Bucky?
Well, the town was still, it didn't matter. They still had contact with the cops. The town's still separated. Cell phones all they want. They can call all around. Like, Jason's coming, or Michael's coming, but they're not going to do anything.
That's
cops
true.
I don't know if he worked for Bucky, if Bucky was the company, or if his name was Bucky, though.
But it was on his hat and his little name tag on his shirt. So I think he just really liked labeling his stuff.
He loses his helmet all the time.
It'd be funny if they found his
put your name on it.
It'd be funny if that's like an extra charge at the company. They're like, we got gloves, we got, you know, all your tools, we can get your name personalized on there. But it'd be funny if they found his burnt corpse and like the way they identified him was like his underwear said Bucky on it. They're like, it's Bucky, all right.
That was Bucky.
That's
So
Bucky.
Dwight H. Little, though, I'm looking at his IMDb right now, and I'm also learning that there's a Freddy TV show, which might be interesting. But he directed the Steven Seagal movie Marked for Death, which isn't that like the only good one?
I mean, yeah, if you hold it to a standard of other movies,
Of
it's
all of
probably
his
also
other
considered
movies.
a shit movie, but you know.
But he directed a lot of like weird shit.
Seagal movie.
Like Free Willy 2, The Adventure Home.
But if you're asking Steven Seagal, he'll be like, it's the best movie I ever made,
Yeah.
alongside all my other movies, which are also the best movies I've ever made.
He directed the sequel to Anaconda called Anacondas.
My best friend.
He's directed a lot of sequels, let's just say that much.
He directed the Tekken movie in 2010.
Oh, that gem. That movie that
I'm
we've
not
all
bringing
seen
these up
for
because
sure.
they're good. I'm bringing them up because they're of note, in my
I
opinion.
know, and I'm mocking
It sounds
you
like
about it
he's a
because it's funny.
studio. You know.
Yeah, he's a studio guy who they just they're like, here, direct this. And he's like, okay, I'll do my darndest.
I'll do
We
20.
got our team of writers. He's like, I don't need to make any changes. Whatever they put down, we're going with. This makes no sense. Whatever.
He's
Throw it in.
directed a lot of TV, though, as
23
well. and, like,
episodes of Bones.
Listen, this guy lives in the Hollywood Hills. What are we to say?
yeah. He directed one episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the first
that was
episode.
The pièce de resistance.
Yeah.
That's anyway. I wanted to bring that up because I want to start off the show talking about the director a little bit more. Thank you for indulging me, Steve. Please make a sting for that, or I'll just do this. This is the time for directors, and then I'll cut that in spicy, and that'll be the new sting. Moving along.
Stink.
The new stink. Moving along.
That's the new stink. That's what the Gen Z says now. That's a new Gen Z phrase.
That's the new
That's
stink.
the new stink.
Daddy-o.
We're like, that's the new stink.
Sounds like the 50s.
Yeah. That does sound like something they'd say back in the 50s.
Hey, Daddy,
like,
that's the new stank.
now that's what we're calling the new stink. The new stink. Okay.
So we start off in a sanitarium where Mr. Michael Myers is being moved. I don't know why move this killer if you have him sedated.
I don't know. Maybe he's taking up too much space. He's been there for 10 years,
10
I think.
years.
Is that?
That's going to be at my theory part.
Uh-oh.
Dun, dun,
Do you want to talk
dun.
about your theory? I'm gonna.
Yeah, let's
okay.
do it because there's already stuff. So basically,
Hold on.
Just do the short one. He doesn't deserve the long one.
Yes, he does.
Okay. Also, okay.
No! It's him! Run! He's got his theories! They're also...
Okay, that one.
The reason I said he doesn't deserve the long one is because the long one is meant to mock the person with the theory. The short one is meant to be like a cool, like, this is my theory.
I know.
maybe you'll mock my theories. We'll see.
That's
Steve
true.
probably-
That's true.
Steve
That's
probably
way to
will.
be seen.
If I said your theory, Steve would mock it, but he's going to treat
So you
you
should
well.
play the theory thing at the end of the theory, and that's the judgment.
I mean,
Oh.
Jason, as the recording says, your theories are often very terrible.
No, I cut before that part.
I know.
So, basically, my theory is the professor is complicit in this whole thing. Okay.
Oh, like he's being paid off or something?
No, he's just been with Michael Myers for too long that he's like, or remember people who touch Michael Myers. This is my other theory. Because like you're like, oh, the weirdness of Michael Myers' lore doesn't start till later. No, it starts this way. Because when the girl touches him, bring. And
Right.
the guy, I think he wears his gloves so he doesn't touch anybody and go crazy too. But that's a whole other thing. But anyways, the professor has been with Michael Myers too much. Brain's all messed up. He happens to be gone and then pulls the old, oh my God, you guys, you let him out. And they're like, you're an ancient relic. You don't know anything. And he's like,
Oh, you mean Donald Pleasance character?
Yeah.
The main,
Oh.
the
Dr.
main
Loomis.
doctor. Because number 2, okay, where they're at the house later on, right? And they're all in there. The deputies are there loading shotguns. They've got Bucky not Bucky. Benny? Which one's the guy? The kid, the young guy. He's
Bernie
upstairs.
or
Brendan?
Yeah.
Braden? Bradley.
Bradley. I think that's Bradley.
It's not Braden.
Barney.
It's something like Braden.
anyways, he's upstairs with the shotgun. They got the whole house locked down. And the
His name's
professor's like,
Brady.
Brady, yeah.
Brady. And we missed that entirely, guys. I think we hit every single other one. But the professor is like, guys, I've got to go back to the house because, he's totally not going to come here where the girl is. I'm out of here. And he takes off. And then sure enough, Michael Myers shows up and slaughters the whole house. Number 3, he's like, let's not go back to the house. Let's go to the school. First thing that happens when they go to school, the alarm goes off. Michael Myers, no guessing involved. We're going to the school because guess where the girl is. Boom.
So he's working with Michael.
Michael Myers.
I like that.
Theory.
I like that because
and every time he's like, oh no. Oh, and I had a fourth one. Remember he goes there and like the cop's like, I'm totally not gonna let these guys run around with shotguns. And he's like, this might be the only thing you've got.
Yeah. He's like, it was Michael Myers. He's here now. He's running around your streets.
First thing those guys do is go shotgun somebody.
Yeah.
I like that because originally I had a theory. They didn't show
evil.
Michael so much. Or maybe, I was flirting with the theory when I first started watching this one that Michael Myers doesn't exist and Dr. Loomis was doing all the kills and we just see this monster apparition. But that's never explained, so I like yours better.
There's
where
one
he's
frame that
him.
may back up your theory though. And I've got it playing in the background there when we get there. When he gets thrown out the window, my eyes may have deceived me, but I swear the Michael Myers mask was brown haired, not black haired. And could be a completely different person who threw him out the said window.
The blackest eyes.
There were also multiple people dressed up like Michael Myers in that town that night.
He could have had an accomplice.
Also,
I don't trust him in anything. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, he's untrustworthy.
What is Donald Pleasence's job or Dr. Loomis's job at this point? Even because even at the beginning when they're about to move him, they're like, he should be here helping. Holy shit, that's dude.
Well, they just don't. They don't.
That's why he's not there. He drove ahead to fucking help bust him out.
Yeah.
Oh, he set up a roadblock.
Ambush. He sets
put
up
some
the
road
ambush
spikes down. Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing goes like he's just never there when like stuff's going
and
down.
And then he shows up right after.
I like the idea of what you guys are saying, but I cannot get behind it. It's a bunch of bullshit. Shut up.
Okay.
No, but I do like it because I like the idea of like him going, but also maybe he's crazy too, right? So when it's like a game for him.
So that's the answer to your theory, Mark. Steve poo-poos it.
No. I wanted to elaborate a little bit more.
We're gonna have to just go on John Carpenter line.
Yeah. Hey, John, are you there? I'm playing NBA 2K23 or whatever.
2K19. I don't play that new shit.
Yeah. I like the part where he finds Jason in the gas station or whatever, right?
Michael?
Yeah.
And he shoots, and like when he shoots, Jason's gone. He's just a puff of smoke.
Michael.
They don't. It doesn't show Jason like. Or sorry,
Michael.
I know they're all the same.
It is.
They're all the fucking same.
Right.
But he dips out, and it's just steam or whatever from the whatever. There's no real explanation as to why the steam is there. It's just there. But I do like that idea. I do like it, but I mean, it'd be cool.
There's a lot more needed to support it. I will admit this.
Like multiple movies afterwards utilizing that theory and going with it, but they don't. They're just like, we got to get Loomis back because he's the crazy old doctor, and now we're gonna make Michael Myers like a.
Maybe Loomis was aiding in the third one with the crazy children's heads exploding thing.
Well, the thing about the third one, if you'll remember, Mark,
I was there.
Is that in the universe of that movie, the Halloween movies are just movies that are being played on TV.
Yeah, they show a trailer for the first movie in that movie.
Maybe they're made for TV movies based on true stories. That's the way we can get around it. It's like one of those 70s like based on true events. It's me, Robert Stack. Yeah.
70s meta movies.
Yeah.
They're too aware of themselves.
This one still plays with the idea of masks a little bit. Like, the mask is in the background before he gets it. He's going around with his head taped up when he's,
Yeah.
And later the girl, we get the POV and she pulls the mask down over her eyes, Mask stuff.
I mean, there's a lot of predictability in this movie as well, but there is one moment that I was like, that's amazing. And I don't know if we want to get to it before we talk to it or talk about it, or if we can talk about it now, but it's like one of the best horror reversals
Well,
that I can think of.
you may as well just say it.
It's the moment where Boobies comes out with the coffee.
What's her name?
Her name's Boobies, isn't it?
I wrote different words than that down.
Oh,
I didn't write any words down.
her name's Kelly.
Lesbian?
Kelly, no.
Oh, Kelly Meeker, played by Kathleen.
Yeah, she has a shirt
Kinmont.
on that says "Cops do it by the book," which I'm like, what does that mean? And also, that sucks. Nowadays, that people are like, ugh, if you were to wear a shirt like that, people would be like, "Get that shirt off, you sick fuck."
This movie,
it's like the equivalent to wearing a MAGA hat.
I would say this movie's propaganda, but they definitely show the police being incompetent for 88 straight minutes. So,
well, they show the one police chief being very competent and never like shutting someone down and being like, "You're just crazy." He's like, "All right, I cannot not investigate this because this seems fucked, and if it's true, then there's going to be some dead people that I have to deal with." But he could have done a better job of investigating it for sure. Okay. But she comes out with the coffee, which is piping hot, by the way. I was like, it didn't need to be steaming that much. Like, that meant that she was holding an actual tray just full of like boiling hot ass water for it to show up on camera like that. If she tripped, she'd be like disfigured, and like the timeline now would be like, remember when Kelly Meeker got burnt alive?
But also Rachel throws a glass at her at one point too.
Well, that one was steaming hot. I'm not gonna.
Perfectly fine.
That one was just regular water. Also, during that sequence, she puts, I counted, 6 full tablespoons of sugar into her 1 cup of coffee, and I was like, that is disgusting. What the?
She's a 10 pumps of fucking shit at Starbucks girly.
Yeah, she's like, can I get
a
6 pumps of lime syrup and
neither of us have clearly
maple syrup, please.
Lime and maple. That's
I love a lime maple spring zesty. That's what they call it, I think. Oakley dokley. Let's move on.
Okay.
But I want to get to the point that I was trying to make. She comes out with a coffee, and she's talking to the guy in the rocking chair. And that guy has this specific hairdo, that deputy, the entire movie. And she's talking about like, I wish the power was back on so we could watch MTV or something. And then she lights a candle, and then she sees that deputy's face in like crumpled up in a corner, like he's folded up like like you stuffed him in a suitcase or whatever. And then Michael Myers stands up. And I don't know, like, I'm usually very astute. I'm usually very like able to predict this kind of stuff. But like when I saw, I was like, so wait, whose head is on the body? Because for some reason I was like, he's gonna be dead in the chair, right? Like that was my whole brain was like, he's gonna be dead in the chair.
Yeah, me too.
And then he just stands up, and I was like, oh wait, no, the chair is Michael Myers. Like my brain never thought of like, Michael Myers is capable of holding a gun. It doesn't mean he's gonna use it.
But then
he used it, but
he did use it, just not in a traditional sense.
He didn't pull the trigger.
So if you're wondering what he does, he doesn't pull the trigger. I don't think his hands can do anything but this and this. So I don't think he could anyway.
Well, I was watching it with Danny, and Danny said something that I was like, oh yeah, true. Maybe he's smarter than we think, is like, because he stabs her with the gun through the wall and pins her to the wall with a shotgun. And I was like, I guess he doesn't know how to use a gun. And then Danny was like, or he just wasn't trying to make too much noise. He made noise, but not like a gunshot level noise. And I was like, oh yeah.
Or maybe brutality is his game, because all of his other kills are just grabbing somebody by part of their body and ripping.
Yeah. Or what else?
Is this whole episode just a theory corner?
Yeah. It's like, wait a minute. Ding, 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 ding. I mean, or he actually abhors gun violence. He's like, this country's going to shit. We need to have some really stricter gun laws. and I refuse to fire again.
What are Michael Myers' Batman rules? What are his rules? Because you know how I was like,
kill everybody, but don't shoot anyone.
But it seems like, you know, Jason's like, I thought it'd be funny if he didn't kill virgins, but like he goes after the kids because of, you know, his mother wanted the kids dead because they didn't look at him while he was drowning. It seems like he's trying to destroy the bloodline based off of Jamie Lee Curtis, but also he just likes to maim people. Like he just likes to he grabs a guy by like the back of his chin and just pulls half his face off, and the first kill he does, like as he's leaving before the ambulance crashes, he just puts his thumb in a guy's forehead, just thumb in forehead, and that's the kill.
Well, he softened his skull up by smashing it on
by
the back
smashing it
of the thing
repeatedly.
a couple times.
So
yeah, like
the question I wanted to ask about
it's
that
like cracking an egg. If you crack an egg, if you destroy the integrity of the edge, you can easily stick your thumb through that.
So what, like when he killed that cop, it looked like his hand was here, the wrong way. Did he just twist him? Because that's what I'm thinking.
At what point, sorry?
When he kills the cop that was sitting in the rocking chair.
Oh yeah,
I couldn't get a good look at like what was happening.
It was very dark, and it was also kind of like a quick one. But yeah, I don't know either. Mark, do you know?
Sorry, which part?
Rocking chair cop.
Rocking chair cop.
Nobody knows how he dies. He's just dead.
But what,
he's just dead. Yeah. He just gets crumpled in the corner.
I was trying to rewatch and like maybe see if his body's backwards.
That's what I'm saying.
Like his head is sitting there, or if there's anything around his neck.
Well, he has like his arms and like he looks twisted up
around. So like I don't know if like he. Like,
I think that Michael Myers just killed him and then like folded him up like a lawn chair and then stuffed him behind the table, like no one will find him here in this dark corner. Yeah.
Because when he kills Brady,
no, come on, the man's got a whole subtle sense of like drama and gravitas. He's like, I put the body right when she comes in.
Yeah, right by the candle. She's gonna light the candle. It's the only candle in the room.
The light's gonna shoot in. It's gonna be perfect.
And the light will go up onto the wall where I've stabbed
First girl's gonna light the candle. Second girl's gonna see it when it comes in. Everything's gonna be great.
Because the way he kills Brady is crazy too. He just fucking picks him up by his neck and squeezes, and then I thought he was gonna throw him off the banister, but like it's kind of yeah, me too. But it's kind of implied that he throws him over the banner because we don't see him again.
I thought he was gonna throw him through that giant window,
or the giant window right behind them. Yeah.
But when he didn't, I was like, maybe not. Budget, like that's like what I was thinking is like they could throw him over the railing for sure. If they throw him through the window, that's a big deal, and like maybe he shouldn't die if that happened. And then it just cuts away, and I'm like, oh, he's dead. Because they're not going to show it. He's dead.
They had at least one realistic fake body. The two bodies that fell off the back of the bed of the truck were stunt guys, but the guy that he throws over the bed of the truck when they're driving away, that was like it crumpled but it looked good. So they could have, when he lifted him up, I wonder if there's a cutting room floor moment where he just dumps him over the banister, because that would have been a cool visual, I think.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little bit too.
We've said all
the effects. Yeah, we've literally said them all. So maybe we go through the movie now. Yeah.
I think the budget wasn't as big as they wished it was, because a lot of kills seem to cut off. Like we could throw him over the edge, but we're just going to leave it with his head getting squashed.
Yeah, I mean, even relative to the time, the budget for this movie was pretty low. Like it's $5 million for the entire movie.
It is kind of the style of this era. The three movies from this the span of 4 years kind of all have that same problem.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I love budgets. I love movies from that sort of era, because it was like they hold up a picture like, we need people who look like these, and then we're gonna need a guy who looks scary, and we'll give you money.
Yeah, it did. It made back its money like triple at least. But, you know, there's a part of me that really wishes that the idea of the third one went on, where they're like, let's make a new movie and a new movie and a new movie every year. Because, like, I really don't like anthology movies where it's like, I'm going to go for the duration of a regular movie, but it's 3 to 5 shorts that I'm watching. You know, like I don't really like that kind of stuff. It's okay on TV, but I don't like it in theaters. I'd rather just watch 3 episodes of like The Twilight Zone or something, right? But I would like to have seen what they would have done, and it would have been interesting if they did sort of, you know, foresight obviously exists, but like an MCU style where they make these stories, and then they can find ways to like have these through points where like, because even I think like the 5th or 6th Michael Myers, they start getting back into that rune idea of the third one, like the Stonehenge shit, like the druidic magics and stuff. And it's like,
and I really like the idea of in the third one they show it's a movie in that universe, because that's the same as in the MCU where it's like Shang-Chi, and there's no references to like any of the other MCU stuff until one person says like, oh yeah, just like the Hulk and Iron Man, and then you're like, that's what that felt
like, oh yeah, Tony Stark exists in this universe.
Yeah, actually the Netflix the Jessica Jones first season, I think, was
it's kind of like
only time they really did that. But
yeah, I was hoping that they would release another Halloween thing this year, because they had that Werewolf by Night last year.
They did. They re-released it in color.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
that's
bye.
Not new. Yeah. You should play a fart sound, please. I was hoping they would do something where they do something similar, where it's like spooky Marvel world. It exists, and then, you know, they could have those, because there's a bunch. That's how Jason takes his shit. He shits so hard that he bounces off the toilet like Mario.
Sorry, be careful what you wish for. I thought that wasn't going to be such a ear assault. Anyway, sorry, Steve. I didn't mean to cut you off. I did, but
I was just hoping that they would do another thing and then have their own sort of like Universal Monsters style world outside of the Marvel world, and then if they wanted to, they could fold it in, because they've been trying to make Blade forever, right? And I'm like, why is that not the perfect jumping off point for Blade? Like, I remember watching The Werewolf by Night and being like, should not Blade be one of these people like in this like world of
just
monster killing?
The Blade movie that's very much, or at least put Moon Knight in at the end or something. One of the spooky
anything. I mean,
heroes.
Moon Knight, I guess, is kind of spooky because he deals with ghosts and shit. But like Blade, literally, his job is killing vampires. Like, why the fuck wasn't
one
he
of
at
the
that
people
meeting?
Is a vampire in that.
Yeah, or Whistler. You know, it's like Whistler's here, and then like you've got Whistler, and like maybe Whistler dies, and then like then we go into a Blade thing. Anyway, I don't want to get into that stuff. I was just saying that like the third Halloween movie has its own sort of like interesting and fun story, as we all talked about in March, I believe it was. And it is weird, right? It's like automatons and like robots and druidic magic giving mask powers to little chips that like make people's heads turn into bugs. I'm paraphrasing, but I'm pretty sure that was the movie.
I'm gonna go delete that episode, and that I'm just gonna cut to you just explaining that for 1 minute, and then that's the new episode. Sorry, Mark.
But you know, imagine they made another one, because it feels like Goosebumps or something, right? Like when you're a kid, like the Goosebumps episodes.
The Goosebumps
every
books
Halloween
had a little bit of that too, right? Like,
well, the idea behind the anthology films would be that, like, yes, they can continue to make Michael Myers movies, but then they can also make druidic magic movies, and then they could make, you know, they would have all these franchises that they could make. And they abandoned it because I guess the third one didn't make as much money as they had hoped, and people were very vocally pissed off that Michael Myers was not in it, and they thought that they had been lied to. They're like, we thought Michael Myers was going to be back, and he's just a cartoon character on TV.
I would say
hot dogs.
Most recently, American Horror Story does that kind of well, where it's mostly anthology. Or Black Mirror is another one where it's mostly anthology, but there's
I'll agree with you on Black Mirror, but I disagree on American Horror Story.
Well, there's little through lines and fan theories that they take certain seasons.
I just mean that like American Horror Story is just like
universe.
What if ghosts were horny all the time in every
There's
episode
more
that
to
ever
it.
existed?
You're not wrong. There's more to it than that, though. There are some really good seasons, but it is a what's his face? Ryan Murphy show. So he's a horny gay man who, like, what if they're scary and they fuck? But American
What
Horror
if-
Stories.
Everybody in the whole town owned an antique collection of dildos. That's the new episode.
That's the new season. It's called.
And all the dildos are haunted. Yeah.
It's called Dildo Alley.
By a different ghost.
It's called Dildo Alley.
And every episode is a different dildo, and there's a different tale to be told.
This is the tale of Don't Dilly Dally and Dildo Alley.
And this one's called Oakley Dokley. All right, so
Feels like we're nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. The point that I was trying to make is that this was it though it's not a bad movie by any stretch. It doesn't expand on the lore of Jason or Austin Powers.
Just do what I do
all.
and say Mike Myers. Just say
It doesn't. In any way, all it really does is show you how crazy this little girl is, who is the niece, and Laurie Strode died, and somehow he finds about it. It's like, is he finding about the niece while he's in the ambulance? Like, what's going on there?
Or does she, like I said, does she go crazy after she touches his hand?
Yeah, I think
that's what I think.
I have a little mini theory here too to tie it all together, because I think that the Halloween series is retconned for the new movies where they bring back Laurie before 3. And it just
it takes place after Halloween 2.
Yeah, just fast forwards 30.
But then also this
the
character, the daughter character, is in those movies, playing the same character. That same actor is playing the same character.
So,
guys.
Okay, so that's what's fucking with me. But this movie has a thing where, like,
this is why you need a Don Mancini to bring in the fucking reins and be like,
Bible.
Chucky is a pervert, yes, and he also loves strangling women, yes, and he was brought back to life by voodoo magic, yes, and you know what? It all makes sense, pretty much.
I think this is a worst case of, like, this isn't even like, oh, we're making a fourth one, we're getting rid of the character like Freddy and Jason.
Well, up until this movie, there is actually sort of a Don Mancini.
Well, this one seems like we're going full bore into a second trilogy.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end, it's very similar.
5 comes not too long after, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and also
all these movies were like every year they're like, we got to make another one, but like
the little
Max
girl has the same origin story. Jamie has the same origin story as Michael Myers. He just does all the killing as a kid in that clown suit, then gets put away for years and years, and then reemerges on that fateful night where he escapes from the first ambulance in the first movie when he's been being moved.
It's a redoey, yeah. It definitely feels like, they were just relaunching the whole. They're like, okay,
forget about that. Forget about that mask.
We're just gonna go with Michael Myers.
But that's what
we don't need any more pumpkin masks
about the director.
And
I wanted to say about the director. He captured. I was kind of talking about it at the beginning when we were talking about the director, but he captured that 70s feel in the 80s. The vibe of the movie looks the same. It's got that same like film grain look that the 70s films had, the 70s film had. It has a similar like darkness to it. There's no levity in this whole movie except for sometimes Donald Pleasence is trying to be funny, I think, maybe.
What, you don't remember the drunk priest?
The priest was pretty good. That's part of my final thoughts. I was like, why did they introduce this amazing character played by that fucking character?
Imagine it was like him and Donald Pleasence the whole time. Like,
Donald Pleasence
we're gonna get evil, and like he convinces the priest that Michael is evil.
Yeah. I think he killed him.
That's You're My Boy Blue from fucking Old School. That's the guy that was,
Blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
that name wasn't You're My Boy.
He's an old
name was Blue.
Hangs outside my store.
He's the old man in the bar from The Wedding Singer.
Well, how Brady gives Michael Myers a good punch to the face right before he gets his head just squeezed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those moments where you're like, what are you going to do though? Like he could have, it would have, if it was like a Naked Gun style, like scary movie, he would have like kept like throwing things at him forever. And he just like wouldn't have done anything to him, or he would have jumped out the window on his own, like Wizard of Oz style, like I gotta go, and then got like impaled on a fence. He would have died anyway, kind of thing.
They telegraphed a couple fence deaths, and we didn't get a fence death. Like, if Rachel wasn't still alive, she should have fallen on that fence that she looks down
my
at.
theory is that fence deaths are probably very expensive to pull off and not have it just be like you fall and then someone's dead on a fence, you know? And even doing the just dead on a fence is probably very expensive to like rig it for a real person or to have a body on there and look convincing.
Beau is Afraid had a crazy fence death. It's not really a spoiler, but holy fuck.
I mean, it kind of is.
Did you see it?
No, but if I had not been expecting someone to die on a fence, I am now.
There's more to it than that.
Oh, does he fall on the fence?
Kinda.
Oh.
Different levels of fence death.
The gore though, the gore for that fence death. I like fence deaths when they're done right. You got to have the gore, because sometimes there's a fence death in American Horror Story where this is just on my brain now.
Yeah, someone's like fucking themselves on a fence.
No, she falls off the top. It's in Coven. She falls off the top of the house onto the fence,
right.
and it just comes
Not
up like
all of them are having sex, Steve.
Sorry.
There's one in an asylum where they do have a lot of
Just
sex.
94%.
Yeah, it's just and there are several other fence deaths.
There's one in a hotel where there's a gay couple that are
themselves
constantly they haunt the bed. In fact, that doesn't.
I did like
Haunt
American
the
Horror
Bed?
Story. It was my favorite, but I liked it.
God.
Hotel.
All right, I made a big mistake and I didn't go to the washroom before this, and I need to do it now. So I'll be right back.
I'll move us through the movie a little bit.
Yeah,
You made a mistake.
We move over to the girl of Rachel. I thought she was going to be final girl, which she kind of was, but I would say Jamie's final girl, in my opinion. They aren't sisters for real, but the little girl wants to be sisters with Big Sister. We learn here that this is like the foster family that Rachel, the niece of Jamie Lee Curtis, is staying with. Is that right?
I want to say so, but she calls her Mr. and Mr. Carruthers. So she doesn't call her aunt and uncle, I don't think, at one point, which is something. So that's why I've always been confused about it, because it's like.
So Rachel is just somebody.
Could be maybe her friends.
Okay.
I don't remember the names of the people, but like, yeah, they were like, could be like, like aunt and uncle, but like one of her friends who survived from back in the day. So I'm not sure.
But that the older people that own the house are brother and sisters with Jamie Lee Curtis, and then Jamie is their biological daughter, who is the niece of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. So maybe Steve knows. I'm not 100% sure on who Rachel is, but they do set her up to be the like.
She's basically her big sister kind of thing.
Yeah, they do set her up to be like the main character. She's not like the slutty friend. She's not like the promiscuous boyfriend. She's not the whatever.
No, she's your typical 80s good girl.
Yeah, final girl. Her friend that they show in the car with the perm for like 2 seconds, I thought was going to be a bigger deal, but she's only in it for like literally has like one line, driving a car. Mm-hmm. This one is already the scariest of the fourth, in my opinion. I wrote down that Jason was Friday the 13th Part 4 was cheesy. Friday the 13th was comedy, and Chucky was a road trip comedy. I don't know if you watched any of those this year, but I would highly recommend going and watching Bride of Chucky. I think that one's going to end up being like my favorite of the four, but it's definitely the most like hard parody of horror movies, and a straight comedy with like pretty brutal murders. It's 1999, so the special effects have gotten a little bit better than we're stuck in the 80s.
They knew what people wanted to see.
Yeah. Michael Myers is in the girls' room. He sees Jamie Lee Curtis in a photo album. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So no, this is all in Jamie's little dream that she has, where she can. This is another little theory that I had that has to do with the paranormal element of Michael Myers. Does Jamie have the power to like have sight of some sort? She's never seen Michael Myers before, I thought.
I think she's just there.
But
I mean, there is something going on for sure, because she's like goes like the first time we're introduced to her, she's like scared in the night that nobody loves her, and
Having
everybody
crazy
know
visions.
but she has already been informed
Right. But
of
Michael
who
Myers has like the bandage mask on at this point, and he like at the same time is crashing.
No, I
in the
know, but
ambulance.
when she goes to school, she's being made fun of because her uncle is
That's
Michael
true,
Myers.
yeah.
She knows that her uncle is Michael Myers. It's not a mystery to her. It's not like she doesn't know about it. So I don't think that her having nightmares about these things would constitute foresight so much as having extreme anxiety based on
No,
the
not
fact that everybody in
foresight.
your time,
Not-
everybody in your town is scared of you because of who your uncle is.
Not foresight, sight, like the sight.
What is the difference?
Well, foresight is like an intuition that people have,
And what is sight?
like paranormal, like ESP, like the sight.
Foresight is the same fucking thing.
No, but
Same
like
thing.
foresight is real.
Foresight is like fortune telling and shit.
No, I can have foresight to know like
Sorry, I mean like a fortune teller.
Yeah, that's what I
I'm
mean
talking
by
about.
the sight. Okay, then we're on the same page. Just using
Foresight
different
is
words.
not the same thing. Like foresight is like this might happen.
But what's
like
foreskin?
foreskin is a thin layer of skin similar to the eyelid that exists on the tip of the penis.
It's the same kind of skin. Figure it out, bud.
Up until recently, most, if not all, people would remove it at birth for some reason.
For some religious reason, they say it's hygiene, but it's removing part of your
But
body.
really, it's just to make you be like, we cut your dick skin off for God. God didn't like it. He thought it was ugly.
I wonder if you're allowed to say dick
Sacrifice your dick skin for God.
For God.
wonder if
God,
you're-
there's like a God
But
out
I'm a
there somewhere
baby.
being like, I tricked them. And he's like bathing in fucking foreskin.
There's another God who's like, you're a weird fuck.
You're
Yeah.
weird, dude.
The fuck
That's
is wrong with
weird.
you?
That's
That-
weird, brother.
It's weird.
So we get
I'm
a
the God of alcohol.
Hold on a minute. I never really thought about this as a concept, but like all gods talk to each other like professional wrestlers. Like, every single god is just a professional wrestler. That's funny. That's a funny
Hey,
idea.
God of Thunder.
It's me,
Brother, but
Abraham,
like when they say
dude.
brother, they're not just saying it as like a like a how do you do. It's like they're literally brothers with each other. Like brother,
Brother.
help, brother.
That'd be a fun like Saturday morning cartoon in the 80s. I don't think it would play now. Also, you can't draw Muhammad, so
I mean, anything you make is going to make people offended, so you may as well take a shot.
Just
yeah.
try and get as offensive as you can, brother.
It's a,
Brother.
like an Adult Swim cartoon. That let's take it to the other 12 o'clock. We get a shot on the screen that says Haddonfield, Illinois, which is of course the town where Halloween takes place. It's Halloween, 1988. It is the I didn't write there. There was a title drop. I'm gonna do it because
This is the first movie that we've done that is sorry, it's not the first one, but it's like the first one where I wasn't sure where they show the year, and I was like, oh, I'm alive for this one. I was born finally.
That's when they said the name of the movie in the movie.
in the movie. At 12 minutes, at 14 minutes, she says Halloween, and at 12 minutes, it says Halloween on the screen. That's the closest. I want to use the sound, but the title drops have not been happening very frequently.
Yeah, not for these ones anyway. No one's gonna be like, this is the return of Michael Myers.
This is Freddy's dead.
Yeah.
Maybe that one will happen. I'm the Dream. Oh yeah, Dream Master.
Also,
used
we
that.
all know that when people say the name of the movie in the movie, unless it's like named after a character, it's bad. It's not great. It feels
Prognosis negative.
weird. Yeah.
It's just not good.
Rachel doesn't want to be an oinker. Was a note that I made.
Yeah,
she was on
that
a
made me
diet.
feel sad
It made me
for
feel
her.
weird because that was a very real problem then.
Because
and
she already
it
kind of
is
looks like a
very real
pig a little
problem
bit.
now. Oh my
I'm
god!
just kidding. I'm just kidding. She's beautiful.
I thought that Rachel was an.
What are you,
She
some
has
sort
a
of
similar.
80s
She
bully?
has a similar
What is this,
nose.
88?
She has a similar nose to me, which is like your nose up points. And
I
you
think
got
it's a rule that
large.
the final girl has to be a plain
holes in
Jane. I think that's just the rule.
I I mean, I think in the 80s that was the if you go watch like the other teen movies, your Breakfast Clubs, your whatever 16 Candles, that kind of that good girl look was the
it's also
hot
like one of
girl.
those things where
Like the other girl was clearly a slut. They're like, this
And
girl.
she had
we're gonna have to bleep that, Mark.
she had insane cans.
We're gonna have to bleep me saying she was a pig and you saying she's a slut.
But we'll leave in me talking about her cans.
I'm going to just say the prototype of like the 80s girl who sleeps around. I'm not saying like she's a real person. I'm more saying like that was a character of the late 80s, early 90s. There was the girl who slept around, and then there was the good girl. They're like, be the good girl.
Also, I think that actor, the one who is like the girl at work, the cops do it by the book girl. She like her entire career was sort of like like Skinamax style stuff where you did see her giant boobs.
It's I looked into it.
Jason's like, I may have a brief history to go over again.
It's mixed. I think she was trying to be a serious actor at first, and then she became the.
And people were like, "Listen, lady, your boobs are too big. You can't be a serious actor.
You
go with what you know."
Yeah,
we gotta roll the fill.
That's kind of sad though, because like, I mean, it's not untrue though. Like the most sort of like predominant actors who are women don't have giant boobs, and the ones that do are usually like larger, like in terms of like all proportions. It's not a thing that really exists, right?
I don't know.
I mean, at this time, I'm talking about at this time period.
Right.
I'm not talking about now.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the whole thing. It's like I'm more talking about like the 88, 89. They had character types. Like so, I like at the end of the movie when she's in the truck and he's on top, right? And he's like Michael Myers and he's like punching through the window or whatever.
Yeah.
They purposely give like a couple quick rips of her shirt just enough to show like a bra strap and get guys going like, oh!
In fact...
is that whole... like her whole sweater gets ripped off?
And I bet you in 88, 89, that got guys going more than the girl who like was basically topless.
Her...
like,
oh my God, Mark, you're probably right.
That's no, the other girl's shirt would have come off. I thought Rachel's shirt was coming off at that moment, but there was an inconsistency where her shirt, they definitely had to like cut apart or give her a new sweater because it got ripped so much on that first rip, and then it cuts to her back and the shirt's perfect again.
The second rip's almost a perfectly new rip.
Exactly, because he rips the sweater almost off, and I was like, wow, that's where they're going with this, but they didn't. It was very tasteful.
Yeah, and so I'm just like,
it was very tasteful. Yeah. How do we tastefully, savagely rip her sweater off of her while she's driving? Just a little rip at a time,
The 16-year-old probably, even though she's probably played by like a 24-year-old, but still, that's.
Yeah, we should also probably talk about that weird. It's not even a love triangle. It's just like a lopsided idiot.
It's a shoehorned in love story.
It doesn't really have anything to do with anything. It's I guess it's just there. It actually could not it could not exist, and the movie would be fine without it.
But no, it wouldn't, because then the runtime would be like 74 minutes. Because this movie is 88 minutes long.
No, because the whole movie ends up at the sheriff's house, right? Sorry, Mark, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Sorry, I think it's just they needed an arc that gets them to a different house, right? So they're at the one. They need to get to somewhere else. What's a plausible thing?
So they wanted something they could cut back and forth to.
You keep look at remember the key to horror stories is like horror movies, especially like this era, and like when you're on a low budget, is you need to keep the cast small. Can't have like, oh, now we're going to Laurie's house, the fourth girl who's over here. Now we got to pay her, so it's like we already paying her for lines. So we're going to pay this girl for lines.
And she loves calculus.
Logan, little back hid. He cheats on her. We show up there. There's a quick minute of drama in the house. Be like, you knew what you were doing. You're bad.
Now let me quickly stuff my bra into this.
When she gets murdered, we're all like, okay, it's okay that the other girl died. The cop shop girl. Because it's like, you know what? She is bad. She cheated with the boyfriend.
I think that without the sheer brutality of somebody like Jason, who his whole shtick is like trying to outdo his last kill, Halloween's much more grounded in reality, probably the most grounded in reality of the four of the Grimoire, and I think that you need to have that interpersonal drama to sort of accelerate that idea instead of just because there is kind of a like a love thing in Friday the 13th Part 4, but it's stupid and doesn't really matter, doesn't go anywhere. And there are people that are like having sex, and there are people that are like in relationships, but that's just kind of just there.
I got it on mute.
No, you don't.
Oh shit!
No, you don't.
Do I not? Do I not? Do I not?
Hey,
Mark's roommate just brought like a plywood board with like a glory hole.
Hey man,
Oh no!
can you glory?
The internet knows.
I hit both.
Can you glory my hole, bro?
Can you? Can you? I can't get back online. I'm back.
So, what kind of bowl are you back?
It's a salad.
Glory bowl.
Having a salad over there? You're eating a sandwich?
No, not a sandwich. Soup and salad. That's the best way to go.
Super salad.
Super salad. Either or.
Here's something I wanted to bring up as an aside. Something that this movie does really well, and other movies do it, but I didn't touch on. Horror movies just deal with the macabre in that at the beginning, when they're referring to Loomis, they say something along the lines of like, you know, Dr. Loomis isn't here. He could be dead and nobody would know. That's just like makes you feel that foreboding. But the biggest one of those little like throwaway lines that just feels very horror is she gets off the phone and she's like, oh, she can't make the thing tonight. She broke her leg. She snapped her ankle ice skating. And that just evokes
and that's back
feeling.
What you just said, that line. Nobody would care if Loomis died. That's another reason why I think he's with Jason. He's like, or Michael. He's like, guys are dicks. They don't like me. Time to see what they don't listen to me. They all think I'm full of it. After 10 years, everybody thinks he's just crying. Well, regardless, now Michael's nothing, and he's like, all right, well,
his life's work is Michael Myers, regardless of anything.
And they don't take him seriously anymore. They want him to literally.
Well, he's been atrophied. He's been in a coma for 10 years, right? Like at this point, like there's a point. So that at the beginning of the movie, there's the other doctor, right? It was like, he says something along the lines of like, Loomis is just he's basically just a name on the page at this point. We don't even really call him anymore. It doesn't matter. If anything, I hope that at any point he'll abandon the case, retire, or die. Yeah. Like, get the fuck out of here. And then like later he's like, I've said it before and I'll say it again, Loomis. You're the one that needs psychiatric help. And then he gets like a phone call being like, oh. I see. And like the doctor's voice is very like gravelly and low that it reminded me of Harvey Fierstein. I don't know if you know who that is. Yeah. Where he's like, I expect him to be like, I gotta call my mother and I gotta call my lawyer.
It's the episode of The Simpsons is Harvey
or Independence Day, the movie I'm quoting right now.
But he it's the one where Homer has like his like personal It's when he gets hair. It's the one where he gets hair and he's got like his personal
you are
friend.
A beautiful man, Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
Because Harvey Fierstein, great.
Fierstein.
He's a playwright. He's an amazing actor, dancer, and choreographer and playwright. And he's in Mrs. Doubtfire. He's like, I think we're gonna need to go full plastic surgery.
Oh, is he the hairdresser that like?
He's his brother.
That like gets him all gussied up.
That's his brother.
Do it like a lady.
Yeah. Yeah. He makes prosthetics for him, and he's in Independence Day where he's like, I need to call my brother. I need to call my lawyer.
So Dr. Loomis just shows up and says ominous shit at this point in the chronology, basically.
Yes.
And follows Michael Myers around the countryside, looking at all his various look upon my works.
One of the things that, like, especially in these older movies where nobody believes anybody, right? Like, that's kind of the thing, especially in the Freddy Krueger movies.
It was refreshing to see the city come together and believe that Michael Myers exists.
and that's kind of the thing that they really lean into in the
They all know
Halloween
it.
series, is that everybody knows who Michael Myers is and everybody remembers what happened. And even in the new ones, that's what all they're talking about is like, you remember 50 fucking years
It's
ago
Halloween.
when it was Halloween one time and
Austin
16
Powers is going to
people
show
died?
up and dance down the street.
Yeah.
Wait.
But in this movie, it's still only 10 years, right? But that's what's kind of more interesting is that like in that mob, like the bar, you know that scene with the bar where they're putting a curfew on and we've all got to go to bed now.
That's what people
or
are
go
like
back to
now
our
about
own-
COVID.
Well, it's I was reading. They talked with somebody. I don't know, one of the guys who helped make the movie back in there, and they talk about how that's sort of like an underlying premise of the movie is that the town like doesn't fully celebrate Halloween anymore because they're still scarred from 10 years prior. So they're like, we'll give you guys till 9, and then nobody's going outside
Once the
because
sun goes
murderers are
down,
coming.
yeah, everybody come
Yeah.
home, yeah.
And that's why as soon as like things are going down, they're like, vigilante posses,
Vigilante
let's
justice.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's roll. Which doesn't
But,
work
like,
out
I
with
think-
all children.
Yeah, the
Right
idea
now.
in this one was like, you know, it's something's going down and like everybody gets amped up at the bar, like all these old white men. They're like, what? And then like the bartender's like, I called the police station. It's just ringing.
We better go.
Like a telephone does when no one picks it up. We gotta go figure out what's going on.
So
And-
that's another
And it
thing.
is refreshing to see that. Go back to your guys' point, to see them actually care for once. You know how
Yeah.
many times in a movie like, guess Jimbo's not picking up, and they just
Yeah.
kind of hang up.
it
the
would have been
phone and go back
very,
to
yeah,
whatever they're
it would have been very easy for them to be like, listen, Loomis, it's been 10 years. No one's been killed in 10 years.
And then
But, like,
Michael goes into that bar and just clears them all.
That's
out
what I
and,
found
like,
really refreshing.
But he
Was
does
like,
do that to the police station,
Yeah,
which is also
true.
like kind of cool.
kind of off camera though, which I would have liked to see how he
I
destroyed.
mean, it would have been
that
great
place.
to see that, but at the same time, the
They
fact
could
that you don't
reshoot
see
the
it,
whole movie with just all the murders.
Yeah. Well, to go back to my point about like weird, macabre, like almost comedy, almost just referencing horrible things. The one big joke in this movie that is the blackest comedy, the darkest comedy, is that when these rednecks are just doing vigilante justice, they accidentally shoot a civilian and they don't
Yeah.
show him. They're just looking down at him like in the bushes. And it really had that like weird 80s like dark comedy vibe to it.
See, I made a joke when I was watching it with the person I was watching it with, and the joke landed with the person that I was watching it with. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, but nobody in the scene. It's not really played funny. It was
thought
funny
it was-
because I was like, oh, they killed Tom. We killed Tom. Masturbator. He loves masturbating in the bushes, but we should have known it was him.
I
Well,
thought
I got
that
it.
moment was played for a joke, a brief
I mean,
moment of levity.
but it's not that funny. Like they shot somebody because they were scared, right? Like there's no like goofiness to it. It's just like they're.
Also,
I guess the
because the
goofiness is
professor
that they
said
shoot
it was a good
idea.
so many
the
fucking times.
the rednecks are out shooting, and they kill somebody. It's a message, and it's like, you know,
Yeah.
gun
Stay
violence.
in Halloween Town.
They also like
Myers.
when they unload on Michael Myers at the end. The police unloading are just like
And the hillbillies. It's like a
and,
whole
yeah,
army
firing
of
squad.
people.
Yeah, I thought that was also funny, but
And
that
is that a,
definitely wasn't.
is it a graveyard? I don't even. What is it?
No,
at
it
the
was
end?
just like at the side of the road by a well. I think you know how they keep the wells right next to the road, typically.
Right,
And when
yeah.
somebody falls
Yeah, deep,
into the well,
slightly bordered well next to
somebody
the
falls
road.
into the well,
so that
it
if anybody
collapses
falls
on
into it,
itself.
it collapses,
It
then
just-
all the earth around it.
Yeah.
goes
And there's
in.
possibly a tunnel connected to the bottom, so
So he
the
can,
person falls.
mine
so he
shaft,
can
yeah.
definitely
Disappear.
escape and show up in the next one for the fourth.
There's a
time.
running river down there that will lead out to the ocean, and he'll be like, ding, ding, ding,
Couple
ding,
med
ding,
packs along the way just to heal him
ding.
up.
His William Shatner mask is still like, he's still breathing somehow.
Well,
He's going through a
and-
video game like mini game, picking up the fucking med packs and just
No, he's having to press A and X as he's like hitting the stones, like going through the to not die.
I love mini games.
I mean, if you hit enough right buttons in a row, you'll never die. So maybe that's what is going on for Michael Myers. It's just a mini game for him, constantly hitting A and B and X.
I mean, if Rachel can survive that fall, Michael Myers can definitely survive that jump
That's true.
off the top of the house. We're at the point of the movie where Donald Pleasence has battle damage from the second movie, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, and he takes the spatula and he like flips the burn mark over his face. Did you guys notice that fucking burn mark kept changing the way it looked like the whole fucking movie?
Listen, it was the makeup artist's first job.
Okay. I think that it was like a weird.
I got it like an inch. We're going with it.
Yeah, he's like, all right, Donald, just lay still. I've heated your skin up to about 450 degrees. He just like cracked an egg on the side of his face.
We're good. It's got bubbles.
It looks great. Sorry, Jason, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I think it might have just been a shitty, like, some sort of epoxy or putty that just kept
well, no,
touching
I
up.
looked into it a little bit, and they were filming for a long time with a prosthetic, and then some random person on set, I couldn't figure out who it was, said to Donald Pleasence, looks like you got a cracked egg on the side of your face. And Donald Pleasence like immediately was like, what? He like went to the makeup team and like made them redo it, went to the director, went to the producers, and was like, we have to reshoot all of my, and it was like hours and hours of reshoots. And but Donald Pleasence was like, I don't care. I don't need any more money. We'll do it again. We just got to make it look good. And they changed it. But in editing, they had all these scenes that they had reshot and all these scenes that they had like forgotten to reshot. So there's like points where it still has that like the egg on his face.
Oh, I definitely thought it was like the 80s where they're like, nope, sorry.
Whatever, man.
Sorry, Donald, we don't got the budget.
It's gonna cut into our cocaine budget if we change your face now. So let's.
And we're already running real low on our cocaine budget.
I got a Chevy Chase movie coming down the pipe. My drug budget is insane for that. I can't do it.
Fletch also lives. Okay, so we gotta save the cocaine for that.
We're gonna do Fletch 4, The Return of Fletch, this summer.
We need a pile of cocaine for Chevy. Okay, like we're stretched in here. You're gonna have to just wear the egg on your face.
Yeah.
The egg on your
also, Michael Myers only kills with his bare hands in this one. That's all we can afford as well.
Well, he does kill a man with a shotgun.
Usually how he kills people. He doesn't really kill people.
He kills a man with a shotgun.
Isn't
he? Or a woman with a shotgun.
I always thought Michael Myers was a fucking.
Well, was
the original slasher.
He doesn't use anything like other than like stabbies.
That is a great point. He is very ineffective with his knife in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't get it till like the very end. Remember, he's in the attic and he's like, "Thank goodness there's a knife in this attic." I was like, "Why is there a knife in the attic?"
I saw a scene.
Weird. Great point. Was that the tie into the next one? Because he goes knifing in 5, not to spoil 5 for people, but he goes knifing in 5. So I'm thinking maybe this was their like homage to people to be like, we're going back to the slasher by the end of it.
I saw a scene, like I was flipping through movies on Netflix.
She does the slashing.
Right.
The little girl.
Yeah.
Like the scissors.
Off camera also, because they need more cocaine. The Friday the 13th reboot has a scene in it, because it's like when you're just flipping through the your Netflix, and it shows Jason in like an old abandoned like house, and he finds the mask. It's a whole fucking scene. Yeah. Felt very superhero. It felt, and you know what I mean? And I saw a scene from Halloween H2O while I was doing this as well, where a kid has his hand in like it looks like a trash compactor or something, and he's trying to get a bottle opener out of it. And Michael Myers is doing that thing that you were saying, Steve, where he's just standing, and then it cuts away, and he's just standing closer now, where you never see him moving. So that theory holds a lot of weight, but in between shots he did a tiny little sprint.
Yeah. He does rolls and stuff. Yeah, he's acrobatic as fuck.
He got hella cardio.
Yeah, he's a professional wrestler for sure. Dead air. Mechanic.
No, I'm still thinking. I was still thinking about that, like with all the gods that ever existed.
So
like,
was I.
Like,
that's where my head.
They're
went
all professional wrestlers. The way they talk to each other, like it's like one climbs up and he's like, "Zoom!"
I'm thinking Michael Myers.
It's like Vince McMahon. He's like, "What the hell do you need to talk to me about, Hercules?"
Imagine we overlay a professional wrestler voice on Michael Myers every time. He's like, brother. Every time he shows up, brother.
Let me tell you something, Mean Gene. This Sunday at WrestleMania, I'm going to lay to the leg drop, and then I'm going to stab him in the guts and stab him in the face with my finger.
These kind of characters are also sort of like the same idea of like professional wrestlers, right? Like at the end of the day, it's like we tune in for the same idea, which is like
to people,
violence and like weird stuff and creativity, and like it just exists, right?
A specific persona, yeah.
I could see like Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers in if they both non-vocal characters, they just like staring at each other like in an arena, like walking around, and like Chucky is the announcer, and he's like, "Oh my God, I have never seen two contestants stare at each other this long in so many years. And all I have to say is, Ade Due Dambala." And lightning starts to happen.
Oh my God! Oh my God! It's Jeepers Creepers!
Jeepers Creepers shows up, yeah.
It's
Freddy
Final Destiny. It's Hellraiser.
He's like, Chucky, I know exactly what you mean. I've been waiting for these two to punch each other's heads off for a while.
It's Hellraiser.
Hellraiser. The walls all open up in blue light. Okay, this is too much.
I like that because I like professional wrestling.
I like doing a Chucky impression because I think I'm good at it.
I think Chucky would be the announcer for that. Just saying. I really liked the jump scare of the mechanic and the chains was pretty cool. They spent a lot of money on that compared to the other kills because we don't get to see a lot of aftermath from Michael Myers in this. That isn't just like somebody laying there dead. The arm cut off in the police station was kind of cool, kind of realistic looking, but it was still just like, stop killing people off camera.
I mean, that's kind of like what Michael Myers' deal is, though, is that like
you don't see it as much.
And then Rob Zombie took over and he showed you every single kill.
What if we have Michael Myers and he kills people and we show it? We show
that's exactly what his pitch probably was, and then he made it so that everyone was like,
100%.
This is disturbing. Like, I don't think we needed to see him strangle the waitress to death.
Hear me out.
And some basement
where they're running, we're gonna cut that out. No running. Yeah. We're just gonna have strangling.
If anything, he's gonna cut them in the back of their leg, and they're gonna be crawling, and he's gonna like stab them while they're crawling.
And some basement dweller is just so horny. Some neckbeard fucking Redditor is just like, yeah, this is.
Well,
my
I mean,
shit.
Jason, you just said show it, but like the thing is if you show all those things, like sometimes it makes it so off-putting that it's not fun anymore, right? Like that's half the battle of these movies is that like they are fun. They are fun.
Make them like more set piecey. I think Friday the 13th has a great balance where a lot of the kills are set piece feeling.
I think that Michael moves. Michael's a movement man. He's moving all over. He haunts the whole town, right? Like that's always been the thing. He's not like, the screams or whatever else. One room, one house, one set piece. He's gonna be all over the place. Everybody's terrified. Everybody's involved.
That's a really good point.
The coolest thing about the Halloween movies that I've always liked is that like even the third one, like so all these in like 1, 2, 4, and then through. Right, like the towns know, like Michael is there, like he's there. They're terrified. They know, like this town is broken because of that. And then even 3, yes, it all happens on the set piece of like that factory, right?
Right.
But at the end, it goes out and hits all these kids through the TV, so like everybody's impacted. Mm-hmm. So Halloween movies are like not designed to like. They're supposed to haunt a group of people.
True. Halloween 3 also.
And when you leave the theater in 88, too, right? 88, 89, whatever, right? You're walking out, you're like going by this dark alley. You're like, is he down that alley?
Yeah.
Right?
True. Halloween 3 felt like an apocalypse movie in a lot of ways. It felt like a very, like, the world is ending. Kind of, there was druids. There was.
Yeah.
The TVs were like.
There was an old Irish man who hated children for some reason. We don't really know why. Yeah.
I hate him. He just wanted to give him to the druid gods.
During the sequence with Loomis showing up to the mechanic, he goes into the diner where he sees more aftermath. The diner attendant's dead, phone's smashed out. Then we get the best part of this movie, in my opinion. Michael Myers is still there. He jumps in a truck. He plows out of the mechanic, out of the garage.
Michael Myers can turn a key.
He clips. No, he doesn't need to turn a key. He clips the gas tank, like the gas station, like gas tanks. They go up in flames, and it lights Dr. Loomis's car on fire. It all explodes,
blows it up,
and then the fire goes up the lamppost, and it like holds onto that. Like they clearly spent the money on this shot because they hold like the fire's going up the lamppost. It's perfect, and then
that was for the trailer.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, why did they show that? And you're like, I guess to show that there's no way for him to like call.
Yeah.
Like that's like what the only. I was like, why'd they show that? And I was like, I guess he's now stranded, because then it shows him and he's like, and he's like trying to get people to
gets
stop.
pranked by some motor
It's
control
also
teams.
It's also one of the only scenes where they sort of set up Michael's travel, right?
Yeah.
Like they're like, he's got a truck. He's off ahead of Loomis. He's like,
He
people
knows how
don't
to
know
drive
he's coming.
somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just, well, I mean, he's been atrophied for 10 years, but he can rip people's faces.
I just imagine him.
But like before that, he was a child who got arrested and put in jail, and then he escaped and rode a car. Like he just knows how to drive a car or something. I don't know. Have you ever tried to drive a car when you didn't know how to drive a car?
I just imagine him driving the car like.
There was some guy
He's
who's
so
in prison.
focused,
It's like,
like,
hey,
ding, ding,
hey,
ding, ding.
hey, Michael, I'm going to teach you how to drive a car from here. So wait, they're sitting in the cell. So you get in, okay? And this is like, if you notice, half of them are like, they're like old vehicles, so they're probably all stick.
Yeah.
So
He has to be able
somehow
to
he's
like
learned
the big sticks that old trucks have.
double clutching his way
Yeah.
through
The ones that are like.
it. He's got both feet working. We're like, this guy can
But
barely
I mean,
work a
I can
trigger.
picture Michael Myers with one hand on 10 and 2, like he's on 10 and he's just like,
Ding 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 ding.
and then puts
ding,
the other,
ding.
and he's just driving and like he's just shitting his pants or whatever. Like he doesn't have to, he's not doing
going-
anything that a regular
I'm
human
going
would
so
do.
fast.
Yeah.
I normally walk so slow.
His foot is like slowly going down to the like.
He drives like 30 over the speed limit, but doesn't get pulled over somehow.
Because he's white. Because he has like a really white face. Because he's wearing a fucking. That's so dumb.
That's
but
the
also,
worst
like,
joke you've ever told, but also
I
one of
know.
the
It's
funniest.
also super burned up.
But like the police are racist in this town,
Especially in this area of the world.
Didn't see I mean, the only black guy I didn't even see. I heard him was the one cop at the end when they pull up. The guys are in the truck and they're leaving, and there's like some guy on the road. He's like, "You can go on to the police station up ahead." You're like, that is the only black dude in town, and he's not even from town. He's from
That's
the next
true.
town.
Yeah, he's from the other town. Yeah, I
Just
remember
coming to
thinking
help.
that too, being like, wait. I'm now realizing there has not been a single other black person in all.
That's when
of
I
this
realized it
Haddonfield,
right then,
yeah.
and I was like, okay then.
But
Well,
then
I mean, it sells. White people get murdered sells.
Yeah.
I love that as he's driving away, Loomis just unloads a clip, just starts shooting wildly. He knows that a single bullet from
He's gun happy, man. Do you remember
Yeah.
the last
Yes.
frame of this movie?
Yeah.
He pulls out a gun on a child.
It's like the cop like grabs his arm, right?
Yeah, but then the cop takes his gun and also points the gun at the child.
Oh yeah. Give me that.
Also, when I said that he's white, I meant that he's very, very white. Michael Myers'
Right.
face.
He's
is
this
very
color.
He
White.
hasn't seen the sun in years.
Yeah.
Ding ding ding.
He's
ding,
like
ding, ding,
ghostly
ding,
white.
ding, ding,
I haven't
ding,
seen
ding.
the
Actually,
sun
when I
but
take off
I'm not
my
even that
mask,
white,
I look
yeah.
the same as when I have my mask on.
Yeah.
People don't realize. That was actually one of my favorite parts. Actually, was when the little girls in the when they go to buy her costume, and she's off by herself.
Right.
And she's like, "Oh, I found the right one," and there's the mask.
Yeah.
Does the whole thing, and he like grabs it, and I was just like,
That's-
"Oh, they did it!"
That's the next like sequence.
And this
Yeah.
is when
So we're getting
her
there. I was just like, they did
in
it.
quotation marks sight comes into play.
Come on, man. Don't you don't get like that.
ding ding ding
I
I think he was
liked
there.
I liked
No,
the-
Sorry, on
Jason, I'm not. I wasn't making fun of you. I'm agreeing with you at this point because she chooses the same costume that Michael Myers was wearing when he murdered his fucking sister.
Exactly.
They definitely like threw it. It was just Easter eggs.
The disagreement that I had with you earlier was that what is sight? What do you mean by sight?
It's what you mean by foresight, but it's, in my opinion, it's another way that it's a video game term. They showed.
Never played a video game.
Sight. That's just the way that it, like a fortune teller's sight.
Me neither.
I've never played.
Like, let me throw these bones down on my
because I have sight
felt table. Yeah.
So you guys are products of the 80s, right? Are you guys all in the 30s area of your life?
Yeah.
You weren't born in like 1995. So did you recognize these costumes that they were showing specifically?
I recognize the idea of them and like the sort of like the
generic
era
clown.
in which like costumes weren't
Neon
really like
Frankenstein,
homemade anymore.
Neon
They were
Witch.
like mass produced and shitty and gross.
Oh yeah, the Neon Frankenstein and all that I did recognize.
The reason why I bring that up is because
crawlers?
no, but I loved.
No, I
creepy
mean, but
crawlers.
like the neon
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
I love that. Like that neon-y, Frankenstein-y, creepy crawlers-y, Beetlejuice-y, that whole. You know,
Just
it was
everything
like weird,
was a
like
tinge of
neon.
neon.
And
Yeah.
it's neon and like horror.
And horror.
Well, like the guy wearing the Frankenstein mask, he had like a shitty, you know. Oh, they all had shitty.
It's like vinyl.
Vinyl costumes.
If you got hit by a fireball, that shit would just melt to your body.
Well, even the original Batman, right? Like with that's all dark, black, blah blah blah. Then you got purple, like Jack.
The Joker.
The Joker. I'm just saying that was that time. It was like black and purple and green
and yellow and like all the like the off sort of colors, right? Like people were like, "This is a color you never seen before."
There's pictures of me when I was a little kid. One as a baby, I had the witch costume on from this movie, and a couple of years later, when I was like 5, I went as the Frankenstein from this movie. Just wanted to.
Sorry, the reason I'm laughing is I'm picturing like a picture of you as a baby wearing the witch, like all the vinyl,
Absolutely.
and then your mom like with like a lit cigarette, like lighting the cigarette, being like, "Look at
everybody
it's
had
Jason,
cigarettes
our
in their
baby."
mouths in all the pictures, and I have this vinyl fucking plastic.
Yeah. And like one little ash could go down and just our baby's on fire.
Well, let's try again.
Yeah, one more time.
This is what I also wrote down. Is she psychic or something? Because the mask in the background, she fucking puts her mask on, and she has that like sees like. I don't know if that was for us or it was her seeing that. Like, what did you guys think?
There's also the idea of like inherited trauma, which like doesn't really. There's no scientific value to it, but like the idea of evolution exists, and like trauma being passed genetically or like just based on like I'm nervy around this thing can be passed on to another person. Like that exists and it's real, and like that's a thing that we know is real, because why the fuck are we scared of the dark, and like why are wolves scared of other wolves and like that kind of stuff. Like it all is real, and I don't really know how to explain it, but like in this movie that's how you could, I guess, is that she's inheriting her fear of Michael Myers based on nothing more than her bullies telling her that,
and her like
he's
perception of all of it,
or the magical part, right? So like coming off of 3, I think we're moving. They want to keep some magical portion. Because again, I still think that the touch, because she goes right after she touches them, she goes and kills the person with the little suit on, right? I think I'm going with Steve. Like she has this in her.
It's inherited,
right? It's inherited in her. As he gets closer, as his energies, as his whatever, his powers, whatever it may be from him is there. It's coming more because she starts seeing the sight more. All this.
Well, and you know, like Mark, what you were saying, like Loomis also kind of inherited it just by being his doctor for so long, right?
Yeah, I think that's it too. Like, I mean, he just seems so. He's sympathetic towards.
Well, I mean, the last shot of the movie,
or to Michael,
you can just see it in his eyes, and like, you know, like we can rag on Donald Pleasence for being like a drunk skunk this whole movie. Like he's clearly like the whole time, but that last shot where he sees her covered in blood and he's like no, and he's like freaking out. I'm like, that's pretty good, man. He is seeing Michael Myers in this little girl, and he's so distraught to the point that he's gonna shoot her with a gun.
Right.
And so that's the only scene that breaks my theory, in my opinion, is that end scene. Because he would have been like, yeah, she's evil too.
Well, it's,
you know,
I don't think it breaks your theory, because I think that your theory is that, like, maybe he's doing those things like you were saying, but maybe he's not doing them knowingly. Like, maybe he's going, like, Michael Myers has, like, infected him to go to that place to do that thing, and he doesn't realize he's doing it. He could have, like, gone and like hit a rabbit by accident on the road, and then the ambulance skids on a rabbit and like goes off the bridge, you know, like that's the magic, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many things, but I think that the most powerful moment of this movie is Donald Pleasence like screaming that he's so scared that this little girl is now the new Michael Myers, that he's willing to blow her fucking brains out, and everyone in the room is like, don't do it. But like, we know that she killed the mom, right?
Yeah, she's covered in blood, like covered
with the scissors in hand.
Yes,
which was that was also one of the creepiest, scariest points of the movie for me, because I was just like,
but I also like you know what's happening. You know,
murdered children get me. I'm sorry, murdered children get me, because that's just pure evil.
I'm scared of children who are going to murder me. You know, I'm supposed to not murder them, and if I do, I'll get in trouble. But if they murder me, they're not going to get in that much trouble.
Adults could go through life and have trauma and, like, you know, go completely bad. But children, let me tell you, if they are evil, what are you going to do? They are evil. They didn't learn that. Like, we go back to that theory. It's learned trauma, whatever. They're just bad.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's why I
Children of the Corn?
Yeah, I want to watch that new Children of the Corn, because I'm sure it's fucking crazy. Like, I'm sure it's gory as shit. And
everything today's insane.
And like really like sadistic.
Well, Mark, we're gonna open up the Grimoire again soon, and we're gonna do some new pages, which is what I'm excited about. So
the lost pages, and also there is a point where these movies are gonna end. I don't see this podcast
Jason
going
X.
away. Yep.
I want to do Jason X.
Me and Jason.
Oh, Jason X. I thought you said Jason.
Jason X, but also Jason X. No, Steve knows. Me and Steve have the greatest memory of
I think that Mark, I think that was the first one we ever watched. We rented it together, and we're like,
I'll talk
about
watch
all of these.
I bought a DVD player to do it.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh yeah, you bought a full ass DVD player, and we were like, let's watch it, and then we did.
Yeah.
And then we watched all the other ones. Yeah.
For the whole night. It killed me. No, we rewatched it. We watched it twice in one night, if you remember. We woke up the next day, we were like, we have to rewatch that. That movie's insane. But
we wanted to see the guy who got like dropped in the giant drill, and he was
like, twisted down a drill, right? I've told this story before, but I've seen that movie in so much that I've just read the like plot synopsis, like shot for shot synopsis around that time, and I was like, no, I'll never be able to watch that. But now I absolutely cannot wait to watch that one, because it seems so ridiculous.
It's the easiest to watch.
I request that I become the guest on that one.
Oh, of course.
I request.
Absolutely.
I'll watch it 5 times first.
Request accepted.
Accepted. I'd like to move along. I just wanted to point out that the crazy drunk priest guy's name is Mr. Sayer, which is like a soothsayer, which is a classic character who sort of tells about the evils that are coming in the rest of the story. Famously, Shakespeare.
I think we can
would
all
always
agree
have a
that
soothsayer.
I think we can all agree that we wish that guy had more screen time, right?
Yeah.
He should have.
He was just gonna now roll with Loomis.
Yeah, imagine Loomis showed up and he was like,
where they were talking back
I need to talk
about
to you.
the druids.
Like, imagine they burst into the police station and it was Loomis and a priest.
It's like Seinfeld
Michael
and
Myers
Newman.
Is coming back.
It's like
it's speech, right?
Sorry, it's like Kramer and Newman busting into a room is what that would feel like.
The speech of the priest was like, I've been hunting darkness for 28 years. You're like, I mean, like, since he was a child, like, it's good track.
Yeah.
Are you hunting Michael Myers? And then he disappeared. And you're like, what?
Well, there was the moment where like Loomis realizes that he's hunting darkness, but I'm hunting darkness, but is it the same darkness? No, but it should have been this. Like, why the fuck not? That's cool. Like a psychiatrist who's dealt with a crazy serial killer teaming up with an insane alcoholic priest whose like entire car is covered in bumper stickers about loving Jesus.
Loving Jesus and God.
That's cool and
which
fun.
was the style at the time, but also a devout Christian at
not
that
on the
time.
inside of your car.
No, I know. A devout Christian at the time would be like, "Ooh, that's a little much." I'm skipping over a little bit.
I loved his stickers inside though.
It is funny that they're inside because it's like it's
inside. He had the stickers. It's the best.
Yeah, it like imagine. Yeah, like he even understands his craziness, right? Where he's like, I'm so crazy that I would put these all over my car, but then everyone will think I'm crazy. So I'm just going to put them everywhere inside my car. So like the entire inside of his car is covered in Jesus bumper stickers.
Once they're inside, there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, nothing. And then he's drinking whiskey. I assume it's some sort of bourbon. Like they're
Loomis takes a drink just like, I mean, I'm hunting a guy.
No, he takes a drink and he at first you're like, is he gonna hate it? And he's like, yeah, let's go. Let's hunt Michael Myers.
So he shows up to the police station fucking hammered.
Smelling like bourbon.
Yeah. And when you were
Michael Myers is coming.
When you were joking
it's been 10 years.
In the chat, Steve, earlier, was Donald Pleasence known to be drunk on set kind of a guy? Because when he grabs Jamie and he's yelling at her in the ear when she like
you're like
when he
that girl
her,
is like getting drunk.
Yeah, like does it just smell like your drunk uncle like yelling in your face?
Oh, also there was another funny thing. It was okay. So like they were filming in a very hot area, so like he would wear a hat, one of those like railroad style hats, a snap front hat, like that they snap down or whatever.
Yeah. And
there was one day that they filmed for like 6 hours, and like everyone was so hot, or so cold that they forgot to ask him to take it off. So they filmed for 6 hours with him wearing this hat. And they just didn't ask him to take it off because everyone was like, "It's so cold!" Like, and they just didn't ask him. And then, what's his name? The producer, Mustafa Akkad or whatever, showed up, and he's like, "What the fuck? You wearing this hat?" Like, none of those scenes are gonna make any sense. You can't just have the hat, not have the hat, have the hat, not have the hat.
He didn't even put the hat on.
Yeah, so they had to like refilm a whole day of like shooting because he was just wearing this hat. And he's like, I thought all the same shots were gonna happen tonight. It's like, no,
coming right out of the cocaine budget.
Yeah,
every time.
But also, you can, if you look at the movie, you can see a couple scenes that he's got this like
a little
band mark on his head.
That's
yeah,
sweet.
yeah.
I'm skipping over some stuff here because we already talked about it. But we do have a part where Loomis shows up to the Slough house and the dog is dead when they start looking for Jason.
Well, that's a Jason Voorhees.
I just did it. Fucking Michael. You even said Voorhees. What is that? Why can't Michael Myers? Michael Myers.
That's a Michael Myers thing, is that he eats dogs.
He eats dogs.
He does. That's a thing that he does in like a bunch of movies. They'll find a dead dog, and then people will be like, I think he ate some of this dog. What the fuck? You guys don't know that? That's a Michael Myers thing. He eats dogs. Yeah, if he finds a dog, he eats it. That's when he's hungry, he'll eat your dog.
Like we gotta like pull up a graphic. We can Google search.
Well, okay, the first movie he eats a dog.
Michael Myers eat
Well, he kills a dog in the first movie, and it's maimed. Is it implied that he's
no? What happens is they walk into a house and they find a dead dog, and then they say, "Oh my god, he killed the dog," and then the other guy says he got hungry, and then that is where the lore is that he eats dogs. Listen, I can look it up right now.
All right, let's move on because I got a dog and I'm scared.
Yeah, Mark's like looking at his dog, and he's like, and Mark's like, I'm getting hungry over here.
So during all of this,
I'm scared somebody's gonna eat my dog.
The lights go out because we talked about how Michael Myers throws that person onto a throws Bucky onto a transformer. During all of this,
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, of course.
I typed into Google. Does Michael Myers eat dogs? And it said yes. In the first Halloween film, Michael eats a dog because he was hungry, and then he goes on to eat several more dogs in the films coming afterwards. They don't go into why he eats the dogs until Halloween H2O, where we see him eat a rat carcass. that doesn't explain why he ate a dog. Yeah. Michael was 6 the first time he ate a dog. Okay, there's too much information here. Okay. Anyway, he eats dogs and animals.
I like that. I like that theory. That's like got a lot of weight to it. During all of this, it's nighttime. There's the whole like subplot where Jamie doesn't want to go trick-or-treating, then she wants to go trick-or-treating, then she does, and then she does. She ends up going. The kids who are making fun of her actually kind of are like, "Oh, the whole thing is weird." Just one sec. They make fun of her for not wanting to trick-or-treat because Michael Myers is her uncle. The second that she shows up, and they keep kind of alluding to, just go trick-or-treating and everything will be fine. And then she goes trick-or-treating, and the kids immediately take her in. But the second Rachel looks the other way, which is crazy because they're bullies. Second Rachel looks away, she goes off with them, disappears. There's a couple beats in this movie where Jamie's just missing, which is just like to create suspense and thrill, I guess. But during all of this, Jamie's not around, and this is when Michael Myers sees Rachel for the first time. And she almost eats when she climbs that fence to jump to the other side after she almost fucking just dies right there, just by herself, on her own accord, by accident. She almost eats shit off that fence so bad.
She does almost die,
like for real too. Like I'm like, oh god, like did they not use a stunt person for that? Like you climb that fence.
They didn't always have them on call. They're like, listen, you gotta climb this fence, and she's like, "Is my stunt though?"
No, but my agent says I can't. Just
the fence.
Can't do this.
You want the cocaine budget, or you want the stunt double?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mark is right.
Okay, fine. I'll jump the.
She's like, I'll take the cocaine budget. God damn.
But let me do the cocaine before I jump the fence. And then she almost fucking dies.
That's why she almost died.
Exactly.
She got too into it because she was so high on cocaine.
So Rachel finally finds Jamie, and then the police find them, and this is where we get the scene where they're at the car, and then multiple Michael Myers show up because for some reason the out of control teens in this town love dressing up as Michael Myers. It happens in the second movie as well. They love dressing up as him and just.
Hey man, do you remember 9/11? Did
you dress up as 9/11 in 2020?
Yeah, I made 2 little cardboard things on my arms, and a plane on each eyeball. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. But
also, you're equating Michael Myers, who's killed like 70 people total, to 9/11. Which
you're telling me that Michael Myers would not?
Wow,
I'm pretty sure he would.
If Michael Myers had to do with the third one and all those,
no,
could have been a lot of people.
What I'm
saying. Do
saying...
you think jet fuel can melt Michael Myers?
Ding 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 ding. He like leans up, covered in jet fuel.
Well, I mean, normal fuel didn't, right?
True.
He got lit on fire.
Yeah, he gets lit on fire pretty good.
And he doesn't have that many burns.
No, he just got that weird hand that makes it so he can transfer.
He's got a couple burns on his hands. Yeah.
The one hand that he chose.
God. I had a thing I was gonna say, but I can't remember now.
Was the real Michael Myers was there during that, right? That's the impression I got.
Yeah, he said, I don't really know how I feel about my name being associated with this,
with
but
9/11.
I am making another Michael Myers movie right now. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, so they go back to the police station. We talked about that. It's all fucked up. What the hell are we dealing with? Evil. Donald Pleasence with the
He's evil. He's evil on 2 legs.
The rednecks show up to the PlayStation. They aren't happy.
Again, the doctor incites a death.
Yeah. We find out Al lost his kid to Michael. One of the kids in the first movie was, I don't know, Al's kid. Loomis's created a lynch mob, essentially, by accident and on purpose, I'd say. And they may be the only guys that can help. or die comically one by one, which they don't. I wrote down that I thought that they were like, I'm waiting for this fucking group of shitty rednecks to just get sliced and diced. And
But I also kind of like that they were like, fuck this, man. He killed the whole police station. Like, let's get the fuck out of here.
I even wrote, I hope Michael does something fucked up to the rednecks.
He does.
Kind of.
He rips a guy's face off.
That's true.
I could think
Oh yeah, he
quickly.
does kill them all one by one. Technically,
Yeah.
Most of
All
them.
I could think was when he was in that police station, like after he killed it, and they went back in, they're like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "This also looks like Rambo #1."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Those two guys together in a police station, we got some real problems."
I really hate the poing sound of the '80s, like gunshots. Like it's like ba, 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 pew. It's
Well,
that
when they're
sound
all
from-
shooting at the guy in the bushes, it's like every kind of like standard stock noise. Like,
Yeah. I know it's supposed to be like a ricochet, but
Yeah.
But
you don't hear any like, oh, I'm being shot to death, because they're like, it's supposed to be Michael Myers.
Brady and the blonde babe get bang. I wrote she has massive cans. All the policemen show up right at that moment, right before he gets his nut. She keeps saying, like, if my father comes home, he comes home with the whole police force.
Foreshadowing much?
He jams all his clothes onto his body, and she just
She does nothing.
She does-
She
she
stuffs
just
her
puts-
bra into a
she just puts her shirt over her fucking massive
and stuffs her
yam
bra into the
bags.
couch.
Yeah.
So that, like, you know,
Listen,
the
Yeah, he would have gotten in trouble, but Daddy had some other problems.
Yeah.
but also Daddy knew what was going on.
Yeah.
when he came
Yeah,
in.
Eddie had some other problems going on.
Brady
Yeah,
was
please.
edging in the
A murder.
corner. Well,
That was like one of the moments that I was like, this is good, because he was like, Brady, you know how to use a gun? He's like, I do, sir. And he's like, all right, take this and take all these fucking bullets. And also, if I ever catch you groping my daughter again, I'll fucking shoot you to death. And Brady's like, okay, I'll
But
go
at
up
the
to the
same
attic, sir.
time, refuses to tell him what's going on. What's happening? I'll explain it to you later. Just go upstairs with his shotgun.
start nailing shut
okay.
closed. Go out on the roof and start nailing shut closed.
I
Which
think
he
he's
didn't
trying
do.
to.
Oh, he did too.
I mean, logically, he got there way in advance, so he's like, we can lock this place down before he shows up. But illogically, Michael Myers is as fast as a cheetah and can run across town very fast. So, like, to me, it's like he's just trying not to scare them. I guess he's trying to not scare everybody in the house.
I also wrote down they arm the teenager because of course they do.
Because he's a
like,
boy.
take this gun. You
Yeah,
gotta
89's
help defend the
fault now.
house. It's like, I'm 16, man.
Nowadays, I would not pick. Do you know how to use a gun based
Some
on like, do you have a
broccoli-haired
wiener?
bitch.
I'd be like, how smart do I know that you are? You are.
Some-
If I had a room full of
I would not
kids,
think so. I'd be
if I
like,
had a room full of
you live in the
teenagers,
city or the country? Country? Okay.
Maybe the
Shotgun
country,
for you.
yeah.
Where do you live? How close to the middle of the city? Oh, downtown? You don't get to touch anything.
No.
Okay, but okay, how about this, Mark? If I had you and Jason in a room and I had one gun, I would look at the two of you and I would think about my own abilities, and I would probably want to keep the gun.
Okay, Dwight Schrute.
And then
But I would give it to Mark. I would give it to Mark 100%. I would give it to Mark
Why?
Mainly because I was in the army.
Oh, that'll do
because
it.
he knows how to shoot a gun.
I dropped out of
Because
the
I spent 4 years shooting it.
Air Cadets. I've never shot
I
a gun
mean,
before.
we're giving him the gun. I've only shot rifles, machine guns, rocket launchers, 25 Mike machine guns out of turrets,
yeah,
mortars.
give him the gun. Give
grenades.
Mark the gun.
That's why I said I already would give it to him.
I'll try to fist fight.
We've had this conversation before. They're like, zombie apocalypse, go to Mark's house. This go to Mark's
I'll
house.
try to fist fight Michael Myers and do fake wrestling moves to him, and then he'll pick me up by my face and crush my head with one hand.
But
Stick one
then Michael
thumb in
Myers, I'm
between your
running.
eyes.
I'm telling you guys right now, I'm running. If Michael Myers, he doesn't die. You shoot him and nothing's happening. Sometimes.
Well, this is one thing that I've always kind of thought about is like Jason and Michael Myers is like, imagine those characters, but like a zombie apocalypse started happening like during one of those movies, and it's like, would they be just another zombie, or would they be like the king of the zombies, or would they be like there would be some other zombies?
Would they get
like,
confused when the zombies didn't try and kill them, and they're like, "Am I dead?" And,
and then would they like keep killing other zombies like constantly, or would they, and would they side with the humans maybe, being like, I think I'm more
or
of
get
a
depressed
human than I
because
am a
now
zombie?
they think they're dead?
That's
It's an
great.
interesting story. Yeah.
Having a whole moment
sure.
on existential moments for killers.
And then Freddy and Chucky are on the sidelines being like, now this is an interesting
this is
story.
great.
You know,
Yeah, Freddy would also be on commentary, I think. Freddy and Chucky are the commentators.
I said that already. Yeah, of course, yes.
Just sitting on top of like a building, looking down on all the carnage.
I'm gonna move.
Well, they don't want to eat my flesh. It's made of plastic. But how about you?
Well, mine's made of dream flesh.
It's blood underneath. I'm going to move us through the plot a little bit because we're kind of... this is the whole scene in the house. Basically what happens here is Michael Myers comes in while they don't know, and he just starts systematically taking people out. We talked about how he squeezes the old man cop into an accordion and jams him in the corner, I think, and then stabs the promiscuous girl with a shotgun and pins her to the wall.
Promiscuous girl, and she's got big boobies.
Then they kind of work up the stairs, and Braden gets killed by choke and lift and 80 yard over cracking sounds. Jamie and Rachel run up to the roof, and they're just throwing luggage down the stairs, like a couple pieces of luggage.
Some of them are just empty cardboard boxes.
Exactly. I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, they get up to the roof.
Actually, Danny made a funny joke, which is like, Michael Myers is and has always had OCD, and he really needs to organize this hallway before he can go through it. But when like the boxes came down, it was like, and he really is in need of recycling, so he's gonna like collapse those boxes, fold them properly.
It's like that thing with vampires where if you take a bunch of rice and throw it down in the ground, they have to count it.
Yeah,
that's a joke from What We Do in the Shadows, because they have autism. So anyway, they or do they? So anyway, I really like.
Or do they in the shadows?
Or do they in the shadows? I liked this sequence on the roof because it was the most like tense, foreboding moment, because you're always gonna like, every movie has a thing where somebody climbs halfway up a roof and then slips, but she has a little girl on her back. Rachel does. And they do that, and they make it up, and they fall to the other side. And as they're falling to the other side, Michael comes over the fucking roof, and he doesn't adhere to the laws of physics, because he's just like trudging, and he gets to the top, and then Jamie kind of falls next to the chimney, and then Rachel falls next to the chimney next to Jamie, and Michael's just stabbing wildly. And at this moment, he kind of slips. Rachel falls. So Rachel ties up Jamie with a fucking cable. It's like, I'm gonna lower you down, which is so fucking dumb.
There's someone on the other side of the house, or like down the street, being like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, watching.
What the fuck?
Even though the power is out, they still have a generator.
We're watching Skinamax.
They're watching like just that sex scene from earlier on Skinamax.
Yeah, we're sure her boobs are about to come out, and we don't see it, but he's like,
"Oh,
what the fuck?"
But
one thing. Right here? Can you hear me? Yeah, you can hear me.
She goes over the edge. She's hanging there, Jamie. Rachel's hanging off the lattice, or the drain, and he's still stabbing wildly. And finally, she just falls and hits. You hear thud, roll sound. And then Jamie gets onto like an ivy and climbs down. And she's like, "No, you're not dead. You're not dead." And right behind them,
what she says is "come back alive."
Come back alive.
So scary, kind of like as a child thought.
Yeah,
because she thinks she's dead.
Yeah,
that's scary.
But then Michael has done a fucking superhero landing apparently in the background.
Yeah, he went fireman style.
Whoa, it's a superhero landing. I'm Deadpool. I just wanted to skip through all that because we've talked about it. We've talked about
that's what Michael Myers' name would be if he was in the Avengers. His name would be Deadpool.
Dead cool.
Or I guess maybe that would be Jason Voorhees because he did die drowning
in a pool, large pool,
a giant pool. That's what a lake is. It's a giant
Crystal pool.
Mark, what did you want to say? Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna.
I forgot now.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not gonna lie.
fine. Yeah.
I had something to say, but I can't remember. It was about. Oh, yeah. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but like that movie was completely loaded with Easter eggs. And I was trying to think when I was looking back, but I couldn't remember because there were so many like, references to the other movies throughout, right? And what set up the movies to come. I didn't notice because I never thought about it, well, paying attention to the TVs, if that like pumpkin was on any of the TVs to sort of tie in. You guys didn't notice any of that, did you? I'm just asking a question.
Pumpkin on TV.
You remember at the end of 3? That's the signal.
Oh, the
right?
Yeah.
So I didn't know because it is Halloween. I wouldn't because there were so many references to the other movies. I was like,
what was the song? Hold on. Can we remember the song? The three of us together. Yeah.
It was something like what you were singing, like.
Welcome
to something bar. Yeah.
Silver Shamrock.
Yeah.
That's like how it ended.
Yes. So I was just like, because they had so many references.
3 more days to Halloween,
Oh,
Halloween,
yeah.
Halloween. 3 more days to
And
Halloween.
every day was
Silver
counting down.
Shamrock.
Right.
There we go.
We didn't hear
Awesome.
that song, but I was wondering if maybe anybody like noticed it might have been on the TVs, just because that would have been a cool tie-in.
I don't know if they would have. I think this movie is a soft reboot of the whole franchise, so they're probably trying to get away from that as much as possible.
No, it's not. It's a continuation of the second movie.
I know,
What
but
are you
it's a
talking
soft
about?
reboot to like to continue to like change how things are. They're retconning the third one out with this movie, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. That's not
Yeah.
a soft reboot.
Okay.
That's just continuing from where the other thing left off.
Fair enough.
Let us carry on. She runs into the school with Buddy.
She runs into the school with Buddy,
And he's like, "Where's the schoolhouse?" And she's like, "What the fuck is a schoolhouse?" And he's like, "It's the house where you learn." He's like,
mean school?
and she's like a school? Yes. Where is the school? It's over there. Okay,
And then he
let's
unloads. And then he unloads like his whole clip on the
go.
door.
Into the door
That's one
yeah,
thing that I did
to try and
notice.
unlock the door.
And
Well,
I was
they
like,
do
oh.
that. They do that twice within 10 minutes. I made a note of that. They try to escape the house with all the doors locked, and Brady's like trying to blow the
It's like,
fucking
it's metal.
door open. It's
What
metal.
does that mean?
That's stupid. But the director was like, you know what? We're still gonna open a door. So they Resident Evil, like Loomis Resident Evil style, opens a door by shooting the fucking the lock off. That's how they get in the school. The alarm immediately goes off. Paying credence.
Well, that was his plan. He
Paying
did that on
credence to
purpose.
Mark's theory, though, that like he knew that the alarm's gonna go off, so we tracked Michael Myers over here to finish the job.
No guesswork for Michael Myers.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna get another cool scene like in 2 where they're in a room with like a spinning blade and fire or whatever. I really wanted to see some sort of crazy ending like that again.
Exactly. And at 2, when I watched 2, I'm like, oh man, this guy, he lit him on fire. He got lit on fire in turn. Ultimate sacrifice. Man, he's the man. But this way, he just gets thrown out a window.
Yeah. And yeah,
You're just like, oh.
He shows up almost immediately. He cheetahs over, throws Loomis through a fucking glass window. And then
You're like, is it a second floor window? Is it? Were we supposed to believe it? And then he just shows up later with some cuts on his face. Like,
No, it's the same burns. He just has 2 of them now. He's like, oh,
ripped him open.
But we do get the great final girl moment where Rachel isn't dead, even though she fell off a 2-story house and hits him with a fucking. You think I'm going to say some sort of weapon, but nope, fire extinguisher. But that's the thing; that's what you got to think outside the box to slow down familiar killers. You can't just come up and try to punch them in the face. You got to distract them or knock them out. Like they knock out Jason in 4, by throwing a TV at his head and it electrocutes him. And in this one, they fire extinguisher.
How do you stop the other ones, Jason?
Oh,
Chucky?
Yeah, how do you stop Chucky?
Well,
He's coming at you.
You kick him.
a flamethrower.
He's melting.
He's made of plastic, a flamethrower.
Yeah, his strength level.
And you put him into another melty.
His strength level is all over the place in those movies. And Freddy Krueger, you just gotta rail cocaine.
You're just like,
until you die.
don't believe.
Yeah.
He will never sleep.
Yeah, you gotta rail fucking coffee grounds like they do in the second
He's
or third
like,
movie.
No, he's like, you can't ever stop me. You're like, yeah, I just bought
a kilo of cocaine.
Yeah.
I'm never
And
sleeping
Freddy's like,
again.
oh.
He's like, I am actually Tony Montana. Say hello to my little friend. It's cocaine.
You would be hallucinating weird Freddy shit forever. He's like, one of these days, I'm going to come right for you. And he's going to stick his blade up your nose while you're awake and be like, ah! And all your cocaine dealing friends are going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Mark? Your nose starts bleeding.
Hold on, wait.
No,
We
it was
missed one of my
Freddy.
favorite lines. Back when you remember on the roof, one of my favorite lines is she's like, "You gotta slide down to the chimney." To the little girl, and she's like, "I can't." She's like, "Well, you better try."
And then she pushes her down.
Yeah, and it just pushes her down the hill. I was like, and then rolls down herself very heavily. I was like, that was an excellent scene of like, suck it up, princess. Like we're
Figure it
getting
out,
this
bud.
done.
We need
That
to
chick, what
figure this out.
was the main girl's name? Not the young one. What's the other one's name? I forgot.
Rachel?
Rachel. Yeah, it goes to show, like, through the whole thing, I was wildly impressed. Like, she just kept, like, getting up, taking licks, falling down hills, falling off houses. Like,
And then running over Michael Myers with a whole truck that wasn't even hers.
Well, this at this point too, Jamie's like incapacitated. They get away from Michael. They run outside. They think Michael's just inside, just in there, and then they drive
He's
away.
in the school, and they're like, "Where?" And she's like, "In the school."
and they're like, nope, not gonna do it.
Meanwhile, he's clearly Cheetah running to get underneath the truck, which we find out in a few minutes. But
He's already there. He already Cheetah ran.
They drive out of town, and the cavalry comes. The state police are coming this way. And what's great is, like, their state police are going to get there to find nothing. Because Michael Myers appears out from under the truck, throws all the rednecks off the back, punches...
Quietly, mind you. Nobody heard
like
him.
a ninja. Quietly grabs through the driver's side window and rips the guy's face, pushes him out. Rachel gets in the driver's seat, and she's trying her best to, like, swerve back and forth to knock...
my sweater.
She gets the sweater thing that we talked about earlier happened to her. Michael Myers is on the top. He's hanging on for dear life. But I'm like, you could be swerving more. But then she's like, I'm taking this fucking truck off-road. And she finally jams on the brakes. He goes flying. He's laying there. They think it's over. They go back.
But it's not.
Stay in the car, Jamie. Jamie goes over and picks his hand up and drops it. Then we see Michael Myers'
And she's
hand.
like, ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding, ding.
We say Michael Myers' hand form a fist around the knife he was still holding up to that point. He's grabbing through the car, ripping faces, but he's got a knife in his hand, is what I took away from that.
Yeah.
And then the fucking...
Some of his most ineffectual moments is when he has the knife.
Yes.
He's fantastic with bare hands. Knife? I'm going to give him a subpar knife.
He was
skills
even
in
better
this
with
whole
a
movie.
shotgun, and he didn't even shoot the shotgun. He
It's
just
true. Very subpar knife skills in this one. For a slasher,
You didn't
Not
even
by
slash
slash.
anybody. Slashing is so passe, as
I'm all about stabbing
Tiffany
people
said.
with guns.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I.
they just leaned into his bodily strength in this one. They're like, he is going to be Arnold.
That's
the
what's going to
strongest
happen.
man
In a
ever.
few years in the United States, they're going to realize that ammunition is too expensive. They're going to start stabbing each other with guns.
they bring back the bayonet.
Hey, I did learn bayonet fighting. It's quite intense.
I remember, Mark, you showing me your bayonet like learning thing, and I was like, "What do you mean you learned bayonet?" And you showed it to me, and I was like, "Holy fuck, that's so fucked up."
It is fucked up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
know what the
basically drag
history
people's
lesson-
guts out of their bodies.
You know the last bayonet charge in history was? It was in the Iraq War.
Oh, really?
A British unit ran out of ammo, so they strapped on bayonets and said, "Fuck it,
Let's
boys,
get it,
let's
bud."
go." And then the enemy was like, "Nope." The Iraqis were like, "Nope, not even, nope." They had ammo, and they were like, "Not even,
No,
we're
these
not
guys are
even
gonna
doing
stab us with their
I'm out with
spiky
that.
guns.
These guys are gonna charge us with bayonets. We're not playing."
I had a
Yeah.
lyric in a song when I was in high school to a song that went, bayonet kill, bayonet stab, bayonet thrill, bayonet dad. And the song was called Son of Bayonet, and our band was called Shotgun Doctor. And I wasn't in high school, I was 21. Anyway, moving on, Michael Myers gets
the
up.
cover of the CD album was like a dad like this.
No, it
He
wasn't.
had a giant knife head.
You're dressed like a
Bayonet
famous
dad.
dad right now also. So you doing that was perfect. The album was
I'm
called
Bayonet Dad.
The album was called
Okie
10%
dokie.
Terror, actually, by Shotgun Doctor. So at this
On
point,
Spotify.
Michael,
Apple Music.
fuck, I should upload those songs because they're not bad. Michael Myers stands up, and then the firing squad shows up, and we got a great scene of them just unloading every kind of gun into him too. And
he's like doing these kind of like you know, when people are like getting hit by squibs and they're like really overplaying
everything around him is exploding because
Yeah.
they're just giving it.
Yeah, the guy with the fucking automatic rifle on the front.
Well,
it's
that's
like-
when they're still. This is what I mean when they're still trying to play him like he's not magical, because he isn't really magical at this point. He's still like a human being, but when he's like and he's like feeling pain, it's like no, he shouldn't feel. He should just be like and like walking, and then maybe he starts to like go backwards because he's like, oh, I can't. This is hurting, and then he like.
Well, he's like
Then
a
he
boss.
falls back.
He's like a boss in a
But
video game. You got to push back.
There was a lot of
into
fire.
You got to push them back into the magma.
I know, but him being like,
He stood up while he was getting shot in the chest with like 15 guns at once.
I know. I feel like maybe it was like
that was my dog.
there
I
wasn't
stepped on
there
him.
wasn't a because there wasn't a uniformed idea of what should happen here is what I felt, because like he falls into the hole, which is very cool, and all the shit falls onto him, which is very cool.
Yep.
But him getting shot seemed like 5 or 6 people kind of deciding like what that was.
It almost would be cooler if he got smacked again with the car into the hole.
Yeah,
Or just right away.
but I
Yeah,
mean,
just launched
Fell
through that
down
hole.
yeah.
Everything falls on him. He's done. I mean, seriously, he did get smoked by a car.
it's true. I thought she was going
Rock.
to run him over, which would have been crazy too.
They also
You're very right, Jason. I thought there was the old back up and drive over coming.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah. I was all about that.
If she had to
We
do it over
were sadly
again.
disappointed on that.
That's the final scene of the movie, and then the credits are rolling as she's fucking.
Yeah, she's just continuously like she gets his like the back tire on his head, and she's like the Michael Myers mask gets ripped off,
Or just like you see the Michael Myers mask go flying in the back,
but it's like
but no, that's
and
not
then it
what
goes
happens.
ding 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 ding.
That's
ding,
not what
ding,
happens. That's not what happens.
Oh,
He falls
that's what
backwards
happened.
into
Yeah,
the
it did.
perfectly placed well. He falls into the well. The well then collapses on itself as we
And
talked
all the
about
blankets around,
Yeah,
brought
all
in
the
all the
weird
grass and
blankets.
stuff around it. Yeah.
which was a weird
Yeah.
set piece design choice that they definitely made there. And then they go back to the house. They're all like, Rachel is looking off into the distance, traumatized, like every Friday the 13th final girl has that look at the end. And the mom's like, I'm gonna draw a bath, and she goes upstairs, and with Jamie, there's a scream, but we do get this great POV shot. We think Michael Myers is back going down the hallway.
I mean, no one thinks it.
I thought it was Michael Myers. I don't know how
You
this
thought
movie
it was
ends.
Michael Myers? Come
I don't
on,
know how this movie
Jason.
ends.
I think better of you
I
to think that you thought that for real.
Crazy shit has happened in this movie so many times.
The first time I watched it, I thought it was
You didn't
Michael
think
Myers.
the girl who's related to Michael Myers, who is like
When I was a
lost
kid,
her
no.
mind, could be
First
the
time
killer?
around? Was this your first time, Jason?
It was my first time seeing this movie.
Yeah. See, first time around when I was a kid, I thought
That's
it
what
was
that
Michael
scene's
Myers.
meant to be.
Jason's not a kid; he's a full-grown adult man.
No, that's true. If you actually look at the camera
That's
angle,
true,
it
Jason. You
is-
are a full-grown adult man.
I was watching the camera angle since I knew that this time
was
around I
curious
knew, and
about
if you
this.
actually watch it, they're at the level.
They're
of
at the level? Okay.
The
Anyway, the mask
Short.
comes down over
Short.
the eyes of, it turns
She
out to
also
be Jamie.
never took that thing off the whole movie.
Yeah.
So the whole movie, I was like, she's gonna put it on, and it's gonna be like a ding 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 ding. It's
But
gonna
I've
be
seen
something.
this movie before.
now that would
No, I honestly, when I was watching it, I was like, have I seen this before? Like the whole movie, I was like, I don't know if I've seen this before.
So anyway,
But-
she kills the mom, and then we get that great scene where Loomis is like, fucking kill her, and the police officer's like, don't do it, I want to do it.
I think the best part about that scene is that Loomis is like, he's not saying anything. He's just like, no, like he's just like yelling no, because he's horrified that the evil that was in Michael has now
Is
passed
she super?
into her.
Yeah.
Is she the new And he's
Is
like,
she the new?
We gotta fucking kill her right now.
I mean, with the
She'll
mask,
be the
you never see
new
his face. She
Michael.
could theoretically just be the new Michael. He could be dead. He just becomes the next Michael.
Well,
He just isn't.
that's two movies in this particular Grimoire where it ends with the successor being some kid.
but I also think that like what you guys were saying earlier about if he was part of the evil, right? Wouldn't it be so cool if like he killed somebody in one of the movies and realized that he's the evil and like sees himself in the mirror and is like, and then just like kills himself at the end and then like
That would be pretty
He'd
cool.
stab his own
Yeah.
head with the gun. He wouldn't shoot himself in the
yeah,
head.
he's like ding 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 ding.
So,
That would be cool, yeah.
in a lot of ways, that was Halloween 4. Before we go into our final thoughts, I would like to play a little game. Okay?
I'd like to play a game with you.
to play a game? So, there's a thing that comes up at the end of every movie. And what it is the Motion Picture Association. What's it? M Motion Picture something authority, right?
The Motion Picture Association of America.
Yeah, anyway, they rate all the
The
movies.
American Motion Picture Association on there.
There's the MPAA rating. They're all given a number. And I just want to try this out. I know the number for the end. I know what number this movie is. Okay?
Okay.
It's 5 numbers. If you had to guess, if number 1 movie was created in like the 30s, what is the MPAA rating for this?
Is the first
film?
number 4?
No.
Is it 5?
No.
Is it
6,842.
6,842. Wait, did you say? What did you say?
We talk about the numbers in order of movies made.
Yes. What's
So it's probably it's probably 20,468.
24,068?
20,468.
20,468. What do you say, Steve?
Well, is it close to what he said?
It's closer.
It just went shot in the dark.
It's closer. It's close.
Mark's like-
to what he said. To what Mark said.
Remember that army shit?
It's close?
It's close-ish. It's not.
He talked about 24,000, so that'll be higher than
24,000 is closer. without
Than what I
going
said.
over. Yeah.
All right. 24,000.
Are we playing Price is Right rules? So if he goes
Yeah.
over, I win.
You guys each get 2 more guesses.
24,600
No.
and one.
No.
Good.
Your
guess, Mark.
28,762.
Okay. Mark is now the closest.
28,969.
No. You both-
29,584.
Ooh. You're over.
Oh, shit.
Steve, final guess.
29 4
29. Oh.
6.
Well, you've both gone over, but you got exceedingly close. The
Good game.
MPAA rating for this movie is 29,324.
That's amazing. That we were at 29,000 movies in the 80s. In the late 80s.
MPAA. Wow.
There. I played my
Yeah,
game.
wow.
I played my game. I did my...
That was a fun game.
That was
that
really
fun?
cool. I'd play that one every time. That's really cool.
I think it works. Also,
Because you guys will get better because you'll be like, okay, if 29 was in the 80s, people will start getting.
I can never play it, though.
Steve
is the thing that sucks.
the guest is screwed once Steve gets going.
That's true. Once I learn the errors of my ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to final thoughts now. If you guys don't have any additional things that you want to add, I've covered all my notes.
I think I'm good. I think those are all the things I wanted to talk about. I thought, yeah, okay, let's do final thoughts.
All right, let's do
So
it.
final thoughts. How are we doing? Like our overall feelings, or like
It's
rating
time for
ish,
our final
and then our
thoughts.
final thoughts.
But before we get to our final thoughts, there is a little segment that we do on this show called The Home Alone of It All. And also, I can just mute. There's a beta feature. You can just mute the sound if we do get copyright infringed. So I'm going to leave that in. The Home Alone of It All, Mark, if you recall, is in Home Alone when he slaps down the blueprint. He starts making the fucking the torture traps.
Home Alone of it all.
Yeah. So I think
Gotcha.
I
Yeah,
theorized that every movie has this, and usually it's just the third act, but the horror movies are a little bit more nuanced. In this, I think when Michael Myers puts the mask on would be the Home Alone of it all, or when the power goes out, when he throws the guy onto the fucking thing and starts killing people systematically. Your thoughts, friends?
The Home Alone of it all in this movie is exactly when Loomis talks to the other doctor and goes, "Why the hell didn't you call me? What do you mean?" And he's like, "You're an old washed up piece of shit, Loomis." And he's like, "I don't think I am. And if you ever say that I am one more time, I'm gonna call all the doctors in the whole world." And then their phone rings, and then the other doctor picks up the phone and he's like, "Oh, I see. Okay." And he puts the phone down, and Loomis is like, "What is it?" And he's like, "Well," and that's when the movie starts.
Okay. Do you want to add anything to that, Mark?
Well, I think if anybody watching knows that my Home Alone of it all is actually what Steve said. Is also the Loomis part, but not as extreme as what he's saying. It's the like Loomis is, he's been doing this thing 10 years, right? People don't like him. They want him to die. They want him gone. He's sort of like, all right, you guys want to see what happens? We'll see what happens. And then Michael Myers gets out, goes on a rampage. He's sort of there through it all, kind of maybe even regrets it. Like, oh shit, son, I maybe shouldn't have done this because I'm a bitter old man. But uh-oh. And then at the end, and through our whole conversation, I finally capped off my whole thought. At the end, when he's in that moment with the gun and they're putting him down, and like, oh, no, he's like, oh shit, I should not have done this. I just created another serial killer.
Okay.
Home Alone of it all.
And I played the sting for our final thought prematurely, but we are now into our final thoughts. So why don't you continue with, hey, I like to keep it a buck on this show and have the guest go first. Why don't you continue and let us know your final thoughts? And if you want to give like a rating, a serious rating, or a fake rating,
I have fake serious. My serious rating actually is about us. Like, okay, so it's funny. Okay, first of all, before I give my rating, I watched it on Amazon on the TV. IMDb gave it a 5.8,
like a 5.6 or a 5.8. Yeah.
0.8, yeah. But the like Amazon rating of people who like click the stars, 4.5 stars.
Out of 5?
So, out of 5.
Holy shit!
Very odd. So like, but you gotta think like the horror movie people must have liked this. That being said, I do like horror movies. I'm gonna give it a solid 6.8 because I think it was good. I don't think it was the greatest. I think it's still lower than 3. I did like 3 a little bit better, but like I thought there was enough Easter eggs that like pointed back to the rest of the franchise. I think it sets up for the ones that are coming along next. I thought it was okay. First of all, I even said to both my girlfriend and my friend, I was like, man, I love the fact that it's a 1 hour and 28-minute movie. Like, let's go.
88 minutes, buddy.
Yeah, let's do it. This is amazing. So I thought like for what it was, for the budget, for everything, it kind of hit exactly where it was supposed to be. It's not going to win Oscars. It's got to do anything. I don't think I wasted my 88 minutes. I think I had a good time. I don't think I was blown away, but I also think I wasn't bored. So I give her about a 6.8.
Awesome. All right, Steve. Oh, actually, I gotta give you one thing here because it's important. Mark, everybody, thank you for being on. Thank you for being on the show.
I don't have a long one this time. I think that, you know, one of the disappointing parts of this movie is that it doesn't really expand the lore of Michael Myers, but it does expand it in a way that people thought it was dead, and then it returned it. You know, it returned us to Michael Myers. Thus the name Return of Michael Myers. He's back. I think the biggest issue people had with the third movie was that they thought they were going to get some Michael Myers fucking around with an Irish businessman, and they didn't. They watched the trailer and they're like, okay, so how does Michael Myers play into this? And he's like, I found Stonehenge and I made a mask that turns you into bugs or whatever. And they didn't get their Michael Myers and they were upset. But this brings us back to Michael Myers, and it's good. It's good in every way. It's been 10 years since you've returned, Michael Myers. Loomis is back. Loomis is great. He's probably the best part of the movie. There's not a lot that I can say about it being great because it's not great, but it's good. It's fine. It's not as good as like Freddy 3 or Freddy 4, Jason 4, Chucky 4, because they all kind of reinvent themselves at this point. This movie does not really reinvent itself. It just kind of does the same thing. And that's where I feel a little bit let down. But I will wholeheartedly give this movie a thumb right in the fucking forehead. Straight to the back of the skull.
Right through to the back of the skull because your head's been softened up like an egg.
Because I do like it. It's not bad. Like, I do like it.
Because your skull's been softened. I love that fucking analogy from the beginning. All right. Good Halloween overall. I still think 2 is the better film and a better sequel. But that fast forward 10 years was a good reestablishment of the killer. I thought 80s Rachel was a good substitute for 70s Jamie Lee Curtis. What's her name?
Laurie Strode.
Laurie Strode, yeah, that's who I mean. And this movie didn't hit you over the head with the fact that it's the 80s, besides maybe some of the visuals. I do recognize now that through talking about it that they do say I'd rather be watching MTV or whatever. So yeah. That's one of those references that's like, it's the 80s. Not a lot changed in those 10 years. Some great spooky cinematography. The score was creepy, and I always love the Halloween theme. I think the kills were more brutal than the other Grimoire entries. Not as elaborate, but fits with the more serious vibe of the franchise very well. I think as far as criticism goes, the ending is a little wonky with Jamie being the killer now, because it's one of those, like, who knows what's going to happen? It's not a definitive, like, set up for a sequel. It's just like, whoa, look at it reminds me of like the ends of the early Friday the 13th movies and the early Jason movies. Just like, wow, isn't this crazy that it's happening? And there's no Dr. Loomis world build, which I thought was supposed to happen in this with him talking more about druids. He doesn't have one of those like moments where he talks. They used the weird priest to do that instead of him. He always has like that. He's on a drive with somebody. He spent all 3 movies. He's like driving with somebody, and he's like,
"Don't you believe me?" And everyone's like, "Yes, we believe you." Like the first movie, people don't believe him, but then everybody always believes him after that. He's like, "Oh, thank God, everyone believes me." Yeah. Okay, so can I get a gun? And they're like, "No,
like, you can't."
I brought my own.
Good thing I have 2. But what happened to what happened to Blue? Where'd he go? He was easily one of the best parts of this movie.
It would have been so cool if it was the 2 of them being like, I think I heard him this way. And they're just
he's like takes a giant swig off the fucking bourbon. I gave this movie a 3.4 to 5, which I think is pretty solid, pretty much on par with the ratings after I went and looked at it. I do kind of agree with, from a fan standpoint, I do see why they would give it a 4.5 because it is very much a return to form. It's a fucking... But Michael's kind of ineffectual besides just like grabbing somebody and like murdering them, like just squeezing them until their life is gone. I also give this movie a white mask spray painted out of a hockey mask with the cut on the wrong side. And if you don't know what that means, neither do I.
Oh, that's a deep cut, in the hockey mask, if you know what I
mean. So before we get out of here, Mark, do you have anything to plug? Do you have any plugs?
Buy wine, drink wine, love wine.
Buy wine, drink
wine. I sell wine.
Mark's
Winery, Brampton.
Mark's Winery, Brampton. Okay.
Awesome. And Steve, do you want to? We're going to show your ad again before we get out of here. Do you want to talk a little bit about your?
Yeah, it's called Confirm Exile. It's a game that I have been working on for quite some time. If you don't know who I am, I've been working in escape games and board games for 10 years, and I've decided to try and make my own. So if you have the time and you have the money, at least look. And if you don't want to support, that's fine. But if you have the money to support, then support, baby. It'll make me feel great. It's good. It's a good game. You're gonna like it.
Confirm Exile. I will let everybody know I want to start doing this in the show, so you can find us on most social media. Actually, you can find us on all social media at Hey Did You See This One. Check out we're now on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify, Anchor.fm/Hey Did You See This One. The first 40 episodes are now up. On YouTube, you can find, I think, 75 of our live stream / broadcasts. You can find me on all social media at SpiderHero9000. Steve's at Boba Blackfly. Mark doesn't really use social media, I've noticed, but it's...
I'm more of a personal guy, but if you want to find my business, it's at Cork's Winery, Brampton, or at Nordemann-Keller.
Excellent. Once again, Mark, thank you for coming back on. You're always a wealth of knowledge for horror, and if you want to come on for,
and we love you. Yeah, we love you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You're a great chat. I like talking to you.
I think this is good. Let's do some sci-fi sometime.
Wow, man, I would love to do some sci-fi.
Anything. The entire Aliens trilogy.
Oh, dude.
That's part of the next Grimoire, man.
Yeah, that would be a good.
The Aliens are the best.
That'd be a good whole month. Resurrection would be the fourth one, I think, and that that goes crazy. So I do have to ask the question that we ask each and every week, and I am actually going to let Mark ask the question that we ask each and every week. And Mark, what's that question?
Hey, have you seen this one?
So sick of hearing my own ad.
Imagine I fucked that up.
No, you didn't. You did it well.
You're awake. Please remain calm.
All right, you're like,
Please remain calm. An accident has
occurred,
occurred, resulting in a minor head injury. Resulting in a major head injury. Minor head injury. Injury.
There's nothing better. That's how I love watching.
The cause of this incident is unknown. No other injuries were reported, and the station has resumed normal operation. Normal operation. Ration. While an investigation into the incident is currently underway. Several hull breaches detected. Emergency power online. Backup power failing. Recommend evacuation protocol. All emergency protocols and vital steps for evacuation can be found in your company field manual. The field manual will provide useful information to aid you in your current objective and guide you to solutions for any situation that you are confronted with in the coming moments. Pairing the manual and its wealth of valuable information with your company-issued multi-tool, there is no problem unsolvable to you. Using records of your crew, dossiers, research, and systems operation guides is imperative. Search for information left by your crewmates, clues to what has occurred, alien records, and classified tools aboard in order to progress through the ship and escape. It is company policy that all crew update their personal logs regularly for company review. These records will no doubt aid you in your mission to evacuate the ship.
Like this much.
It is imperative that you utilize your field manual if you are to safely exit the station. The field manual. The field manual. You must use the field manual. In the event of an emergency on the station, the evacuation protocol must immediately be activated. A head count will be taken to ensure all crew members are present. The station's escape pod will then be activated, and the crew will board and be launched into space. There you will await confirmation.
On the back of the screen. I was also on your Kickstarter page.
I probably shouldn't talk through it, but I didn't care that much. I was kind of just like trying to be like, you know, this is the thing we're watching. Are we? Okay. Oh, it's the Halloween one. It's so good. Our Halloween theme is so much better. I love it. I want it to be our regular episode. No, I know we can't, because like all regular.
I might need to get you to do some voice work for my business in the new year.
Okay, I could be like, have you ever drank a wine before?
That's literally the kind of shit I do. Like, have you ever drank a wine so silky, so smooth,
that it made you question what silk was?
that your whole world broke? And then you looked and said, oh my God, it's half the price of the liquor store. Fuck
And
me.
smoothness was questioned by all the governments in charge of your local city.
Mark, thank you so much for coming back. I love you. You're one of my best friends in the whole dang world. Jason, you're also one of my best friends in the whole dang world.